And welcome back to the Boundary Corner podcast, along with my partners Brian Siegler, Jonathan Talley, and in the building tonight. This episode is brought to you by Dr. Lord Jeremy Count at the Main Street Pharmacy in Blacksburg. Your friendly
I'm Jeremy.
neighborhood. You are Jeremy. 301.
Yay, Jeremy!
That's
South
right. That's
Main
right.
Street,
I said it
Blacksburg,
last year. I'll say
Virginia.
it this year. He pays the bills. He fills your pills. Jeremy counts.
And once a year, the
Pretty
episode
good.
is all his. Tally,
Like that one.
Siegler, Jeremy, how's everybody doing tonight?
Oh man, I'm feeling good. I got a
Lovely.
little Hardywood bourbon barrel GBS rolling on this side here. So
Tally, what
We're
you
doing
sipping
good.
on? Tally, what you sipping
Man,
on?
we started off. We've already started with a little Eagle Rare. That's what we started with earlier. But we're gonna bust open this special gift from my brother. This is a very special Hennessy
Damn.
hip hop edition.
Nice.
Got Nas on the cover.
Hey,
Oh,
guys.
shit.
So hey, play your program here. Hey,
Good at it.
let's get going.
we got to do
what-
it proper, man. We got to do it
Jeremy,
proper.
what you on
Let's get it
tonight?
going.
This year,
This
I've
year?
actually decided to be a little more responsible, which being responsible to me is drinking a 12 or a 6-pack before I do this. But right now, I'm drinking Parkway Brewing out of Roanoke. Get Bent IPA, my favorite beer ever. It is so unabashedly hip, it would make Andrew Parent blush. I love this beer. It is wonderful.
Stay away from the Jameson, please.
Stay away from the Jameson.
I'm staying away from it. I'm still going to black
Hold
out
on.
house.
And-
I'm
and-
gonna- I'm gonna
He
scare
said I'm
Tally
still
tonight.
going to
Hold
black
on.
out.
Tally, this is what I'm drinking
Mhm.
tonight, boys. Little old
Oh,
Granddad,
okay.
bonded 100 proof. I got some Coors Lights too sitting over here, the banquet beer. We poured heavy the first time. First of all, 365 days ago, this was not a fucking fun episode to do.
It was fun. It
Oh,
was
no, it
fun.
won't.
It was fun in
It
a
was,
different
it
way.
wasn't. It was fun in a different way. It wasn't fun to talk about. It was
It
fun to
wasn't fun
do.
to talk about. It was fun to get. You had moonshine last year. That's how bad it was.
He had
Oh,
moonshine. I drank an entire fifth of Evan Williams White Label in 3 hours.
That was fucking dumb.
I don't know
Yeah.
how much. I don't know how many
That was
James you had.
fun.
I was paying full French scotch, but to this year, before we start anything, the boys look back, raise a glass, head into a bowl in a few days here. By the way, I lied to y'all. My ass is going to the bowl now.
You going to the bowl game?
Nice.
Yes. Story real quick. So
Story time. Story time.
quick story. So I couldn't go for a couple reasons. A, kids had doctor's appointments. Well, the doctor screwed up the doctor's appointments. Scheduled them like a week early. Wife couldn't make it. She had to reschedule late. Great. Cool. Thought about going. Saw the prices. That hurts. That hurts a while. I just paid for a bunch of kids' toys for Christmas. Jeremy knew how to go that this year. But all of a sudden, my cousin who lives down in Charleston gives me a call. Hey, man, what's going on? I'm like, nothing. He's like, you want to go to the bowl game? I was like,
Of course I do.
I'd love to if I could, but I'm like, spend $100 driving up there back. Brian can't go because he's got shit already going on that day. He's like, what if I told you I had free tickets? Say what? Come to find out, one of his wife's cousins, is actually an athletic trainer down at Tulane. She got 2 free tickets. So he's like, he's driving up here. We're gonna go together. I am excited to go. I've been looking at the forecast. It's gonna rain like crazy. Yeah, he always goes with the secret lab chair. Y'all didn't know that? Always with the secret lab chair. But boys, we got a fun episode tonight. We got a lot of special guests. But Jeremy, what's been going on in your life the last 12 months? I think some shit changed, right?
I got a baby now.
How's that treating you?
Yeah.
It's been awesome, actually. Like, I wake up early anyway, so I just like wake up at like 5 or 6, and I take care of her for a little, like, few hours, and then I go into work, and it's not so bad. I go to bed early like an old person. I want to eat dinner at 5, but you know, whatever.
Jeremy said I got old real quick.
Yeah, it's not
Yes.
a bad adjustment. I kind of like being old.
Being old is
I'm
fun.
grouchy enough. It works.
You sleep when
always
that baby
works.
sleep.
Yep.
That was
Yeah,
the
she'll be
honest
all right. Okay, we've adapted well. Emily's done great
Nice.
with her. Like, she's coming along, hitting all her milestones, doing most of them early. I'm happy. Fuck, I'm even happier that we're back on track.
Yes, sir.
Hell yeah, back on track. And just a few days ago, obviously, I mean, I watched the whole thing, and I know Brian was trying to watch it, telling you were jumping on it, but the class of 2024, I mean,
Big class, man. Big class.
big class, small class,
Small class, big class from a standpoint of what it means for the program.
Oh, it means a lot to the program. It means a ton to the program because of where these guys are coming from and that overall ranking. The overall ranking is in the top 30. I mean, that's Brian. You always talked about it's the key 88, right? That 88 number. We're all, and this is like an 87.9 class, right there. So it's a lot of fun stuff.
And some of that is kind of bullshit, but we'll get to that.
We're gonna get to that.
We're gonna talk about it. We're
definitely gonna talk.
We're gonna let some shit fly on that. I'm damn sure about that.
So Jeremy, I know when we came, now we all met up at Purdue. By the way, the last time us four were in a room together was at the farmhouse Purdue weekend.
We were taking Jameson shots then.
We were.
Farmhouse
We
was
were
good,
Jameson
too.
shots. We were taking Jameson like triples in glasses.
I ain't gonna lie, I felt a little out of place when we went to Farmhouse because I ain't see no fucking black people. But I think it's because all of the black people's in the back cooking. Because that was some fucking good food when they brought that food out.
What are you talking about? We have a robust black population in Christiansburg.
Well, I didn't see no black people at Farmhouse. I seen a whole bunch of rich white people. And they
Yes,
was
that
drunk.
is Farmhouse.
So, yeah, I was a little looking around a little bit, kind of, but once we got in there and got to drinking, and that food started coming out, hell, it was right on point.
But
Yeah, the food was good. We were taking Jameson shots. I think there was some tequila mixed in there at some point.
somehow I
I don't
don't.
know, man.
Maybe
I don't know.
something
It's-
got
it's
mixed
a-
in there.
The only thing I
Yeah.
remember about that weekend is the freaking the microburst that came through in South End Zone and hailstones pelleting
Yeah.
us
Yeah,
Oh
we
my
were
God.
getting clipped from the side the whole
on the
like,
side.
just hanging
And
out there in
then-
the.
And Jeremy, you
South
didn't.
there.
Unfortunately, you didn't get to go to that game. Did you make it to any games this year with work?
I didn't
the
get
baby?
to go to any games this year because of the baby. We had
It's
a
all
few where we were going to go, and like my mom got a kidney stone,
Oh,
and
damn.
then dad got like fucking COVID/flu/ whatever he did a few different times. And so we did not get a chance to go to any games. And so my tickets that I pay thousands of dollars for every year, I just gave away.
Well, you're that good of a person, though. You just give them away to people that will go scream their lungs out.
Selling good tickets is tacky. If you get tickets as good as I get, if you sell them, it's fucking tacky. Give them to your friends; they'll appreciate it.
There we go.
There you go. But that's you didn't get to go to that game. But I think when we sat there after that weekend, it was like 1-1, and you didn't know where we were. I remember I think I texted Dwight Vick not long after that, and I was not in a good place with the team mentally.
Hell no.
None of us were in a good place for a while.
And then shit started changing. And then shit started changing, and then what happened? But we got a lot. We're going low tonight, y'all. If you've ever not, first of all,
to go to any games.
let's just can't do anything about that. But if you've never listened to this episode before, if you are the faint of heart, you probably want to go ahead and turn it off right now. I'm gonna just go ahead and let you know.
No,
Wait,
stay in.
what was his
Stay in.
name last year that sent me the card?
Oh, that
don't
was
know the guy.
amazing. That was the best thing ever,
Best
man.
ever.
I think his name was Joseph or something.
Joseph. It was Joseph.
Yeah.
But
Joseph sent you a
regardless,
card. First episode he ever
Big
listened to
card.
of our podcast. It was Jeremy when he was on with us for Stay the Program last year. He was like,
He
I'm not
sent me
listening
a
to it again.
card
I'm gonna
telling
send
me
Jeremy a
not to
card.
sponsor anymore, and it was just like, motherfucker, I was on there doing most of the cursing. What are you talking about?
But if this is the first time you've ever listened to watch this gets sideways because every thought that's in our brains, not only our brains, the folks we're going to bring in head, we let it flow tonight because we went through ever since August. We've been focused on games. Tally's drinking Hennessy. We're having fun. We're staying loose, and over the course of this year, there were guys popping up in the mentions of our episodes. And all of a sudden, we started looking at last names and started noticing their Facebook and their Twitter and like, wait a second. I think that's, but we just we hit them up and said, "Do y'all want to come on tonight?" And they did. So, without further ado, we got our first two guests kind of walking into the bar of State of the Program. Introducing first from Houston, Texas. He is the father of number one, Kyron Drones.
QB1,
Kyron Drones. He is an assistant coach down in Texas. And I had you, Kevin, I'm sorry. I had your Twitter up to give your school a shout out. And I'm going to do that before I pull you on because that's just who I am. He is an assistant coach for Clearbrook football and Clearbrook men's track. He is Kevin Drones. Mr. Drones, how are you tonight, sir?
I'm good. How y'all doing?
We are doing well. We really appreciate
Hey, Drones.
What's up?
We
I see you
good,
got
man.
your shirt.
Oh, yeah.
Got
show
your
your
shirt,
yes, sir.
Get up
Oh,
on the
yeah.
screen there. Get up on the
Shirt
screen
came
there.
through today. Y'all see it. QB1. Hey, Kevin looked out for me. They've been wearing these things all season, and I just get to asking questions. I'm, hey, man, where you get that shirt from? He said, you know what? I got you. So my guy, Kevin, looked out for me. I appreciate you. We appreciate you coming on.
Hey,
I know you
we
got
got
a
some
lot.
family in the house.
Okay, we got some more Drones in there.
Super auntie right there.
There
Okay,
we go.
nice.
But Kevin, you started popping up in our mentions and watching weekly, and hey, we really appreciate that. We hope you know our thoughts on this stuff is we've all been long-term Hokie fans, and the steps we saw Kyron take this year were unbelievable. It harkened us back. I mean, I go back when in the heyday when the Hokies were running 10, 11 games a year, going to national championship. It made me think about that again. So we appreciate you joining us. Now,
I appreciate it.
we got one more person to bring on. And just a few days ago, this young man's son committed to Virginia Tech. This young man's son is the greatest wide receiver in VHSL history. Now, I'm giving y'all some hints, right?
Pretty big hints.
Pretty big hints. His son attends Green Run High School. He will be enrolling early in just a few weeks. I loved Coach Pry the other day joking with all those guys. Y'all ready for 6 a.m. workouts?
6 a.m. workouts, man. They're
But
coming fast.
But his son is
Yeah.
Keelan Brody Adams. And if y'all have heard him, he's been on some of our spaces before just a few days ago with Tally, Mr. Chris Lester.
What's up, fellas? How y'all doing, man?
Doing
Chris-
good. Thank you so much for jumping on with us tonight. Like Curtis has already talked about, this is loose. We're going to keep it loose, but we appreciate both of y'all jumping on with us. Just loving to reminisce about where we've been this year and where we're going next year. I mean, this is what this is all about, and just having some fun, drinking some beers, drinking some spirits here. So it's what we like to do before the holidays, and we thank you for joining us and sharing your wisdom and everything you got to say about this program and the boys that you've helped raise and grow into the men that they are on the field and off the field.
Well, hey, man, I'm excited to be on with you guys, man. Big fans of y'all. Definitely a big fan of Mr. Drones, man. You know, hadn't had a chance to tell him, but man, super excited about him, man. His family's amazing, and his kid was one of many reasons why we decided to come to Virginia Tech.
I'm glad to have y'all. Appreciate it.
Hey, man, glad to be here, brother.
Welcome home.
Glad to be here. Thank you, man. Thank you. Glad to be home.
Love hearing that, and it is home. So I want to start with, because you just mentioned it kind of there, Chris, about Kyron's a big reason, and I am pronouncing it right, correct? Kevin Kyron's, like
Right,
Byron
yeah.
with the K is what you told us that night.
Exactly.
Kyron, because
Remember when we got the Tyrod thing where we were saying Tyrod for years? It's actually Tyrod. And we were like,
Parad.
fuck? What?
They still say Tyrod. They still mess
still
up
do.
Kyron's name. It's going to continue to be.
But for this podcast, we got corrected quickly, and we've not messed it up. But I want to hit Kevin real quick, because Kevin, a year ago, Kyra made the decision to come to Virginia Tech. And just a few short days ago, it was a big portal day. But can you just, he was already down at Baylor, so you had went through the high school stuff, and we're going to talk about that a little while with Chris. But what was it like? Because he's been at Baylor. He's already in school, and I'm sure you had a lot to. You're his dad. I'm sure a lot was discussed, but how did that process go last year?
You know, Kern kind of chose Baylor. I tell people it was almost like a prearranged marriage because it was COVID, so he never got to visit anybody.
Okay.
He never got to go on campuses. Everything was FaceTime, Zoom calls, virtual visits. Even when he committed to Baylor, I had to pay for us to go to the game, and we had to go in with everybody else. Like we never even met the coaches. So the first time he met Aranda in person was the day we dropped him off. So
That's crazy.
You know, 2 days after he signed, Fedora was gone. So it was, you know, if it worked, it worked.
That was some wild times.
You know, the best thing that happened for him was, you know, that Thursday night he got in that game against West Virginia and nobody else was really playing. So that was the best thing that happened. So, you know, that pretty much that night I kind of knew. Well, we kind of already knew. We were just hoping he can get on the field and get film.
Yeah.
Because the one thing that was scary about the portal, you go in and you hear these horror stories and you're like, he hadn't got any film. So I don't want to go in and not have an exit plan.
Yeah.
So, you know, once that happened, I felt better about it. It's still scary, you know, that Monday morning when you officially in. And, you know, I remember talking to him about 11 o'clock and he was like, you know, I thought I'd have more, you know, calls coming. But then he had lunch with Tebow about an hour later. I talked to him and his whole voice changed. And I was like, whew, thank you. You know, at the time, I had two boys in the portal. So it was, it was extra nerve-wracking. So it was, you know, I talked to Karen and was going to meet PJ Fleck for Jeremiah. So I was all over the place. So, but yeah, so it was a scary feeling, but you know, Virginia Tech's the only visit he ever took. You know, so
that's crazy.
Be glad.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Wow. Fucking glad.
I ain't lying. Good,
you know,
great.
They made a big impression. You know, Tebow being down there the first day.
Yeah.
That was huge for Kern. Because he didn't want to post anything. He didn't want offers because other people were offering. He wanted it to be genuine and organic. And you know, we went there. It was big for Coach Pry and them to have us there first. You know, because we knew some of the other ones. Kern was in Elite 11 with one of the other quarterbacks that they were bringing from Penn State. And, you know, so it was huge for us. And it went a long way for Kern for them to bring him in first. And, you know, when they put number 1 on him and we went to Lane Stadium for the photo shoot, and they didn't realize he had been number 1 since Little League.
There we go.
So when they did it, I was like, man, that brings back memory. That got chills. And he was like, oh, they give me number 1, it's done. You know, they got all with pride.
Kevin, I'm gonna tell you a little bit from our perspective and a fan perspective of what we was looking at while y'all was going through that. So just went through a season, 3 wins, didn't get to play the last game against UVA because of a tragedy. Still RIP to the young men there. So we were kind of, you know, we did end the season on a high note, which was great as far as the win versus Liberty. But again, you only won 3 games, lost a lot of close games. This podcast, as well as a lot of fans included, knew we needed a playmaker at quarterback. Like we knew it, you know, no disrespect to any player or coaches that are on the staff or players that were on the team. I know those young men put their hearts on the line, but we knew we needed a playmaker. I'm going to go ahead and say, I told them we need a black quarterback. I'm just saying, that's what I said. But when I say that, realistically, we needed a dual threat quarterback. So when we see a offer go out to your son, to Kyron, we immediately start digging for film, you know, high school stuff. We start digging for, you know, him playing against West Virginia. We start looking at message boards. We started looking at what the fans at Baylor had to say when he was leaving, because when you get involved in like we are in football, like you just search, you ain't got nothing to do but search for stuff. So like the Baylor fans were distraught. They was like, oh God, why is he leaving? You know, he was going to be the future, blah, blah, blah. So us as fans, this BCP podcast, we were thinking like, oh, we know we got something. But you got so many fans that are just kind of diehard Hokie fans that just gonna say, whatever's in front of me, that's what I want to take. Y'all can't talk bad about anybody here. Y'all can't say that we need another quarterback. We got a quarterback. And I'm like, if they put this kid on the field, I'm telling y'all are gonna see that he's different. He got something different. I've seen it, and he's got something. How do you know? Because I watch a lot of fucking football. That's how I know. When I seen the film on the kid, he's got something different. He comes from a great family that knows football. He comes from an athletic family that's got college athletes all over his family. It's exactly what you want in your quarterback. So when we seen him get in the portal and we seen him, y'all kind of sneak up and take that visit to Blacksburg when Jeremy probably heard the music playing and he started telling us about.
That was hilarious.
Like,
That's when I realized what Hokie Nation was about. That was wild.
Oh yeah,
like, I didn't even know Barry took a picture. He took a picture of us at the airport, and we started. I'm looking on message boards, and they're going, "Hey, we know that there's a 6:55 flight going into Roanoke.
Flight season is legit.
Flight season, man." Like I said, I don't know what y'all was dealing with, but on our end, it was going nuts. Like,
I was dodging Evan Watkins the whole time on 247. I was like, I'm not.
People are tracking likes on the kids' page. They knew your wife. They knew you.
We knew Tebow follow. We knew Prime follow. We knew everybody follow.
Hokie Nation is unbeaten, man.
We a little rabid. We a little rabid.
Dude, I got so many.
We were obsessing over his clips when the game against West Virginia. We were just breaking it down, just like, what was he looking at here
every day?
Look at this decision making. We were doing this constantly.
So we got a lot of chats. We're on Twitter a lot. I was beating the drum of QB1. The second I saw the West Virginia tape.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
The second I saw the West Virginia tape, I was beating that drum.
Because me and Brian talked about this. He's like, he went in cold that game in Morgantown, which for all of us down here, Jeremy, I think, did you go there as an undergrad to a game to Morgantown?
Yes. I went to Morgantown a few times for a few shows. I've never actually went to a game though.
Okay.
But Morgantown's wild. It's wild. Especially when half of the clothes you own is VT gear. It's wild.
Yeah.
West Virginia looks like somebody stepped straight out of the Hills Have Eyes. If I don't never have to fucking go to West Virginia.
They've got a bar up there that
place.
has like hot tubs in it. It's insane. It is
dirty.
It is a dirty town. And not New Orleans dirty. That's a fun dirty. It is a dirty town in a bad way.
But Brian and Tally were like watching that game, and it was like, he's cold making these throws. He's cold. It was because normally
it's the poise. To me, it was the poise.
Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah.
To me, it was the poise. He never looked like the moment was too big. Playing from behind, playing on the road, playing in that environment. It never was too big for him, and that was big for somebody coming in cold like that for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you talk about like mechanics and when you talk about like everything else, like you those are things that you can grow into once you're a starter, once you're a player. But you can't. It's really hard to coach the poise in those types of moments. And when you have that, that's something that you really it's hard to replicate. And when you have that in a quarterback, that's really important.
Yeah, he's always been, never too high, never too low. Go back to this. I mean, we were in a playoff game his junior year, the year we won it, and he throws 2 picks in the first half, and I think everybody thought I was fixing to go in there and be the big bad wolf. But
yeah,
I didn't. I just took him to the bathroom and said, "Hey, you're built for this moment right here. Like, take care of the ball and go win the game." And he just looked at me and was like, "I got you." And it was like, second half, he put on his cape, and I just couldn't believe it. I mean, but he's always just kind of been almost too much. Like, I remember him being young, and we had to tell him, like, "Hey, you score a touchdown, you got to go celebrate with your teammates. Like, you just run off the field. Like, that's what you're supposed to do."
Your business as usual.
I will say, though, even kill like that is so important on offense. Like
Right.
defense, you want
Yes.
somebody with a lot of gas.
He's like
Offense,
Logan
having that even
Thomas's
keeled demeanor
build
is important.
with like Tyrod's demeanor. It's
Mhm.
That is a good way to put it. That's a great
Super
way.
even
Yeah.
keel. But look, we don't want to. We got somebody else on here, so we want to throw some stuff at you as well, Chris. A little bit different from you because you got a high school student that was able to take some visits, a lot of visits, had a lot of people knocking at your door all year. You are there in Virginia, so you kind of know what the Virginia landscape looks like as far as football, high school kids as well as the college stuff. And you said something earlier. You said, drones was a little bit of the reason why y'all looked at Virginia Tech. So we just want to ask you a little bit about y'all's journey of how y'all committed, you know what I'm saying, and how you felt about Virginia Tech being the pick.
Oh, well, listen, I consider been listening big to Kevin all night about that situation because Kyron was a huge part of it, but for us, but our situation was one thing that I always took when we took visits different places, I was out like taking notes about everything. And the one thing that I took was from a Virginia Tech favorite, Pat Narduzzi, do your homework. And I'm gonna be honest with you, Kevin. You can kind of attest to this. I could not understand how any person does this by themselves. I don't care if you're a single father, single mother. I don't know how you do this because I'll be totally honest with you. Without my wife, we probably would have been somewhere totally different because she had the ability to vet people, and I'm just a big football nut. So I'm going into places, right? I'm looking at the helmets, the gloves. The kid is like, hey, I just want to be here for the pictures. And I'm like, but she really vetted people and watched them. So Narduzzi told me, hey, do my homework. And so I did my homework. So when we came up to Virginia Tech in June of 22, I was just, I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't want anything to do with Virginia Tech. Quick background story. Sean Mitchell was the all-time leading passer for touchdown, completions, and yards in the state of Virginia. That's my nephew. And Beamer had gave him a scholarship offer. He was going to Virginia Tech, and I was hyped about it. Fuentes came in, pulled his offer. Now, he ended up going to William and Mary, went and played ball, went to Connecticut, got his master's, and he's doing great. But I hated the fact that he was 5'11", he was 1 inch too short, and he didn't get the offer. So I wasn't really feeling Virginia Tech. So, but when we went up there, I wasn't, man. I was like, man, bump this. I'm just going up here just to go up here.
If it makes you feel better, we weren't really feeling Fuente either.
we're in agreement with that. But I think the one thing that we always did, like when you talk about West Virginia, there were visits that we took that we got out the car, we would pray and say, hey, man, we just up here just to make sure that they see us, get the pictures, and people know who we are. And that's what we did. But from the moment we stepped on campus at Virginia Tech, man, it was crazy because I was like, I told Keelan this. I said, man, listen, you can go anywhere and play in the country. But if you come up here and play well, you'll be a legend. And I told them that the very first time I said, you will be an absolute legend here. They are dying for kids like you, and you'll go do it. But I think our process was, we went a lot of places. We saw a lot of different facilities. We would grade everything, and we would come back and look at it. I mean, we were committed to Ohio State at one time. We was committed to West Virginia one time. We was committed. I mean, like to ourselves, we were going. He's like, yeah, right. I'm going here. Yo, I'm going here. Yo, I'm going here. And I can tell a story, now. There was never a point where I felt pressure from this staff for him to come. Like when we were going 3-8, I was sitting and watching the game, and I wanted to see Pride crack. That's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see how he would act if there was a tight game, they blew it, and who he was going to throw underneath the bus. And if y'all follow me on Twitter, I say that all the time. And he never cracked. He never blew up on his team. He would, and everybody said, oh, he's a salesman. He says, I got to be better. I'm learning. I'm understanding it. So through that whole year, I was like, something different with that dude right there. So when we went to other places, went to Penn State, they made us feel like we should be honored that Penn State wanted us. And We
Right.
didn't feel that. We didn't feel that.
Right.
I ended up meeting Chance Wiggins up there though. That was
There
a
we
good
go.
thing. I got a chance to meet him, meet his mom, and things of that nature. When we went to Alabama, we were gonna take Alabama's visit. I don't care what nobody said. We were taking that visit. Now we was never ever going to Alabama, but we were taking that visit because we wanted to see how the sausage was made. And I wanted to front of I wanted to front of my friends and say I had a picture with Nick Saban. I'm gonna be totally honest. That's how I was on. So I was definitely on that.
Make
Look,
that.
man.
Ain't nothing wrong with
I
that.
was- hey man, I was talking cold trash to my homies. I was like, "Yo, I got a picture with Tricky Nick. I'm the man." It was funny to me. We were gonna go to Florida State, just couldn't work the details of that. Tennessee was super duper arrogant. They were like, "Hey, well, you know, if you don't come out here to us 10 hours away, you know, we won't commit the offer." And Keelan was like, "I'll drive to Ohio. I'll go to Ohio State, but Tennessee ain't Ohio State." So me and him, our bond grew closer going to Ohio State because we went up one night at night through the mountains. We did take the turnpike. I'd never been so happy to see small towns in my life, going through the mountains of Virginia, getting up to Ohio State. He loved Ohio State, but by doing our homework, we're able to break that down. So we returned around. We came back up in March, and I think we took one summer visit, and I met Kyron. So I meet Kyron, right? And he's just standing in the weight room on the wall with Ollie Jennings. And he's just standing there like nothing's going on. He's just so cool, so laid back. And I said, it's something about that kid right there. There's just something different about him. And Key was like, what you mean? I said, because he's not over the top. His demeanor is low. He had his work bag. Him and Ollie had already worked out. And I said, I like that kid. I like that kid a lot. He said, and Keelan's a football player. And Kevin, you know how that is. Football players just look at football players like, okay, he's a football player. So I see him play. I don't know who he is. But me, I did all the things y'all did. I went and watched his Elite 11 tape. I watched his West Virginia tape. I was like, yo, that dude right there might be the truth. And, everybody's looking for that next guy, because of the history of Virginia Tech and things of that nature. So I was like, yeah, he kind of reminded me of coming to cast that was really, really good. So, but his demeanor is what got me. And man, the process was easy, man. When we had 4 official visits. I was always honest with everybody. I told them ahead of time if I was coming. Our first visit was Pittsburgh. I called them. I said, we ain't going to Pitt. Narduzzi was really mean to people that I saw. And I told them early, hey, we put you on the list, but we're not coming. Ohio State, we had kind of looked at the numbers. 3 of the top number 1 wide receivers in the country had gone up there. They had the number 4. They had a lot of guys. And I never shied away from competition, but I understood this one part. He's a Virginia player. If he goes to Ohio, even though he was born in Ohio and he lived in Ohio, he was an Ohio product. So they're just going to say, hey, this is the number 1 wide receiver out of Virginia. That's great. Mm-hmm. They got a guy up there right now, Noah Rogers. He's the number 1 guy out of the 23 class or 22 or 23 class from North Carolina. He went to Ohio State, and he can't get on the field. So I told Key, I said, listen, the goal is if you want to go to the league, you got to be able to get on the field. Now you can go
that sounds
up there
like a lot of kids that come out of Virginia right now.
Absolutely.
Yep. You go down to UNC and that's another crazy story because that was the first offer he got was from UNC. And we were kind of like, yeah, UNC. And then we got there and the wide receiver coach never called me. I kind of said, okay, we're not going to deal with them. But we went from there because Kevin, I don't know if you caught this. If they don't call and talk to me, I don't really feel that they're interested in me. If the recruiting assistant or somebody like that, they call, okay. But if I don't talk to the OC or the head coach or the wide receiver coach, they're not really that interested in us. Yeah. So
why do you say that? Because when Kyron left Baylor, they wanted to have a meeting with us. So I'm thinking we're gonna have a meeting with all of us. And
right.
It turned out it was I never once talked to the OC and never talked to the head coach. And It was just the quarterback coach calling me. And I'm like, I've been talking to you. I'm done with it.
Like, right.
We've already moved on from this.
Like,
And so that
I put him on the field. The OC didn't reach out, so I was like, I'm done. I talked to Aranda, so I was like, I'm good.
And I wanna say something right quick. Why something that Chris said earlier that I talk about in some spaces, and I know these two guys can talk about as well. I wasn't recruited on the level that their kids have been recruited, but when you go through recruiting stuff, like I came from a single mom home, and my mom didn't know a lot of stuff. She didn't know about visits. She didn't know who to talk to. So it was like, okay, this coach is going to be the one that's going to help you. Like, if you don't have the people that's showing you the right stuff, and schools know that. They know when they have somebody that's vulnerable. Like when you have a father that's a football fan or a father that's a football coach, you know what I'm saying? These sometimes the schools get intimidated to recruit the kids because they don't want to talk. They just want that kid because we can mold him and do what he wants. We don't care about his family, his mom, and things like that. We don't want their input. We just want to take them and do what we want with them. So when you talk about having that family around, when I talked about how our coaches recruit, like recruiting it's a long game, man. You got to know who cut the kid's hair. You got to know the father. You got to know the auntie. You got to know where they get the sandwiches from in their family, because you don't know who is going to have the influence on that kid or who is going to be the one that's going to talk to that kid, that's going to make that kid open his eyes to the school.
That's
so
actually what Frank said.
Yeah,
that's
what he did.
Yeah.
Chris, you were talking
it was
about
like I got to know, like, if something's going on and like we can't keep a hold of him, and he's getting to college and doing whatever. I need to know, like, he's got a good relationship with his mom. Like, I need to know, hey, does this kid, like, does he have a lot of connections to, like, his family, his friends, everything else? And that's a lot of things that they looked at, and family relationships are huge in these situations. And I think that's overlooked a lot of times.
Chris, you were talking about vetting. They didn't even realize it until I told them after Karen got there. I talked to Hendon Hooker's parents. I wanted to know the good and the bad. So I wanted to know if they're, and they had nothing bad to say. They couldn't say anything bad. I'm like, this kid just transferred from there, and they didn't have anything negative to say.
Yeah.
I also coached.
Well, they should.
Bryant went to Virginia Tech.
Yep.
Right.
And got in a situation, had to leave. He's at Illinois. I talked to his parents. They had nothing to say bad. So it was like, even the people that had to leave didn't have anything negative to say. So everything so that's what, people don't realize. Like, I reached out to a little bit of everybody because, again, just like the Baylor situation, Kyron wanted to go to Auburn. Then I'm going to Auburn. And the day he was ready to commit, I was like, Kyron, they're hot and cold on Malzahn every other year.
Yeah.
And
there you go.
We know Chad's not going to be there, because if he was going to be there, then Chandler wouldn't have went to Oklahoma.
Yep.
Right.
So he's not going to be there. So are you really ready to go to Auburn? You've never played a game since you were 3 where nobody was there. And I have to be real with you as a dad, because if I don't tell you, I don't want you to walk out the locker room the first time and we're not there, nobody's there, and then you feel some kind of way. You're that far away.
Yep.
And it took him, that's why he went to Baylor, because it was in state, and he was 17 years old, leaving in January.
Wow.
And he just wasn't ready. But at this time, when he got in the portal, now he's 19, he's been in college 2 years, and it was a business decision. He was just trying to get on the field. He wanted a true competition, not a sales pitch, just a true competition. Are you going to really let me compete for the job?
Yeah.
That's awesome to hear.
Oh, go ahead, Curtis.
Awesome to hear. What I want to do, Kevin, Chris, y'all met them a little early. We're going to bring some other folks on because I know they have some questions and want to talk to y'all about some stuff, and we've got other stuff we're going to talk about the season. So, Brian, let's bring them on. Let's start with our coaching buddy from down at North Wilkesboro High School, longtime friend of BCP Podcast, Coach Robbie Compton.
There he is.
There he is.
What's going on?
We also have co-host of Too Deep, Pete B, coming back again.
What's up, fellas? How you doing?
Oh, man.
Last
going on,
one
man?
is Chris. You mentioned him a little bit earlier. We got Dan from the Terriers from the Terra Dome.
My dude, my buddy, my ace. What's up, baby?
What's good, baby? How we living?
How you living?
We are all living good. I wanted to bring y'all on because I know
Dan.
I got a coach in my left corner here. So, Kevin, Coach Robbie Kevin. I know y'all probably have things. Robbie's been there for some of his players. Pete and Dan have their pods, awesome pods, and I know they've got questions. But let me ask this from both of y'all, and kind of in general, because some of y'all have gotten to meet some of these coaches. Robbie, Dan, Jeremy have. Let's talk about Tyler Bowen, because Kevin, that is your son's OC. Chris, that's going to be your son's OC in this upcoming season. And one of the big stories was, and you said it, day one when Kyron went into the portal, he was there. And everybody knows about that. All of us fans on those boards, we were like, wait a second. Bowen's in a plane going down to Waco today? Shit, he wants that kid bad.
Yeah,
bad.
Let's talk about Tyler Bowen and the relationship, because obviously he's got to have a relationship with both of y'all. And I know Robbie got to meet him back at a coach clinic last year. Dan, you've met him before. What's Tyler come off as to y'all, meeting him, not only the football player, but the human being? And I'll let you go ahead and start, Kevin.
Just really genuine, open relationship. It's funny because it was two kids in the portal, and I know me and Tally were going back and forth. Kids were going in the portal. If I had a relationship with them, I was shooting it to Bowen. It was like, hey, if y'all want in on these guys, or y'all, if I can help in any kind of way, let me know. And it was that openness that I haven't had with other coaches. And like I said, I got two kids that are in two different schools, in their second school apiece, and I didn't have that relationship with those guys, but I feel comfortable, and it's no threat. I'm never going to be, I'm a coach, so I always tell them the last thing I want is I'm never going to be that parent to hover over and do all of that. Your decisions are your decisions. Everything's going to work itself out like it should, in the end. As long as you keep doing your work, everything else will work itself out. But Bowen, that whole staff, I'll tell you, Coach Pry, everybody's a open book. And when I say make you feel at home and like family, like you don't hesitate to call them, and they actually mean it. It's not just something they say. Like, and that's across the board. That's defense. My frat brother is Marv. So I get there and talk to him. I mean, I'm around those guys all the time, because I'm at every game. So, and being able to see and talk, and I was so happy for them this season, seeing how level they were. You could see them getting better. It wasn't showing up on wins early, but you could see it happening. It's got to just take its course. And then when that Pitt game happened, you can kind of see it turn. They just needed some confirmation of what they were doing was working. And it kind of worked. And, you have some slip ups, but that happens. But now you see the momentum with everybody coming back. We got a great recruiting class coming in. I think everybody is turning for the better, and everybody's kind of seeing it. I mean, even talking to, you talk to parents in our we have our own parking lot and all that stuff. And, you go out there, it's just this
is the most optimistic the fan base has been since 2012 after the Sugar Bowl. I mean, we could say the ACC championship game in 2016, but honestly, whenever we were there and we lost, I was just kind of like, we were probably going to lose.
We're just happy to be there.
It feels like we are legitimately building a program. It's just not like we are like striking out and maybe doing. It feels like it was back in the day whenever I first came here in 2004. What we were. That's what it's feeling like right now.
It's the trajectory. Everything feels like we're heading on the upward path right now. And I think that's something that we haven't really experienced in a while. And I mean, let me throw this at you, Chris, because I know with the 757 connection, for the longest time we have had struggles recruiting that, especially after in the 2000s where that was our bread and butter.
Not this year.
For a decade, it was dry. It was dry.
This year.
Yeah.
Talk about that a little bit.
I mean, it was you said it best. I mean, like I'm not originally from here. I'm from Charlotte. I'm from North Carolina. So the Navy brought me here. But from 1999 to 2006, man, listen, man, this was every time you turned around, it was Virginia Tech something. Virginia Tech this, that, and the third. So, like I say on Twitter a lot of time, it's like a time machine. The 23 class and those guys brought us back to the beginning or the heyday, or if we aren't quite there yet, but we're just so excited about Virginia Tech football. But going back to what you were saying, man, with Tebow, I mean, this staff is a staff of men. And Kevin, I think you can follow me on this. You know, you feel good when you talk to them that you're going to get a straight answer from them. You're not going to get no song and dance. You're not going to get no hemming and hawing. They're going to shoot it to you straight. And so that's what I love about Tebow. And I love the progression that he's taking, because you got to remember, he loses his quarterback coach in the middle of summer, and he's saying, hey, I'm going to be the quarterback coach and the OC. So now I got two different guys quarterbacking. I got a pocket passer and I got a dual threat guy. And for him to turn around in midstream, to turn around and said, okay, this pocket passer thing ain't working. Let me work to my other quarterback strengths, and to flip his offense to be able to do that. Because the one thing Tebow will say to you more than anything else, Kevin, he says that I'm going to get you to rock. That was every time he texts me, it's like, let me get you to rock. So I just call him, hey, you're going to get me to rock. And he's going to get the ball into his playmaker's hands. But he needed a guy to be able to do that. So, you know, when I was going on Twitter and seeing folks, I was like, hey, listen, if Grant Wells works out well this year, it's because he's got better weapons. Because, dude, he had one guy who turned around the year after, quit football. He had another wide receiver, man, who was a hardworking guy, and a big part of why we liked it there. Because when we first time we met Daquan Lofton, he was in there working. He was in there working out, trying to get better, trying to do his thing. But he was limited, you know, and we all saw that. You know, I'm not no knock against him. He was limited. Yeah. So you give Grant Wells premier pieces, you know, a Ollie Jennings, a Jalen Lane who killed Miami, who's a Blazer. You get a Avatar and Daquan Felton, you know what I'm saying? I mean, a flat-out monster. You can't help but get better. I played basketball, so I knew I was better if I had guys who could shoot on the wing. So I understood that. So you get those pieces in place. If he works, it works out. But if something happens that the other guy gets in, it was going to work out anyway. Man, people excoriated me on Twitter like, oh, man, you don't know nothing. You don't know this. I'm like, I'm just trying to be positive about either direction. But for Tebow to turn around and take his offense, second game of the season, flip it, and within 2 games, give you the monster that's going to score at minimum 30 points if it's in their favor. You can't do nothing but get that guy. Hats off to that guy, because
I know. I was actually on the programs, and I was full on, just like, for a while I was really upset with the way things were going, and then everything turned around. I mean, it is full on at this point. It is full on trust.
I mean, you got.
Man,
and you
listen,
got
I get a lot of.
Go ahead, man.
Go ahead, Chris.
No,
I get a lot of interaction on Twitter. I think the most interaction that I've ever got on Twitter on any post that I've posted was I posted a picture of Kyron and said, "This should have been my QB1," and they ate me.
Oh, they was on your ass. They was on your ass.
Man, it probably had it may have had like 500 likes, but it was so many people in there. I was getting so many messages, and I kept telling people, I was like, I watch too much football to argue with y'all.
Yes,
Hold on.
That's the piece, Tally, though. That's the piece. If we weren't just saying, let me go real quick.
This podcast, the day after the spring game, said it. Kyron Drones should be QB1. We said it. It's Robert Rules. If you ain't never been in a fraternity meeting, Kevin, you know what I'm talking about.
Listen, man. We gotta be.
We said,
listen, we gotta be real. We gotta be real when we're talking. People were saying, "Did you see him in the spring game? You know, did you see Kyron?" I said he ain't.
And we said, "Yeah, we did." That's why we're saying this.
He got a non-contact jersey on. I said, "There's not one player on that defense that's gonna tackle him." I said, "Did you see? He looked like Cam Newton." Like he's just his physical stature. If you watch a football player, I said he is not going down with somebody grabbing him, like grabbing his jersey. It's not very often that kid is going to go down. So that's the conversations that we was having.
Yeah, it was.
And when he got in, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like, when people were doing all of that, and I was listening, I listened to everything, and my boy Chris Coleman was eating him up about You know,
Oh man,
and the spring game, and I was just going, you
No.
can't simulate what he does
Can't.
in a practice or a spring game because you're going to have a quick whistle. What you
Exactly.
think is a tackle isn't a tackle. What you think is a sack isn't a sack. What he, unless you know him and you've watched him play, you don't know. I remember Karen calling me and saying he and Marv got into it because they called him short on a third down, and he said he looked at Marv and was like, "You know, your guy's not tackling me." So
I love that.
but that's and I was like, they can't mimic that. So when you know,
they mimic it.
when
If
they
you go,
named,
if you
I knew they had to
Go
name
ahead,
He's
it.
a gamer.
Yep.
He's a gamer. It's a lot like whenever Hendon came in, and Hendon just came into the games and he was dominating. That's what it reminds me of.
Dude,
But
it-
I gotta bring Pete in right here because I want Pete to talk just a little bit because he's been super on with so much stuff that he said this year. Even though he put an ugly picture out, drinking beer out of a mannequin's ass or something like that. he's been super on with so much stuff that he said with the comparison of the team, and he said something about Kyron. Maybe the last time he was on, when he said it's not so much that the team just changed when Kyron got in, but they believed in him. The team believed that he could lead them to a win. Like Pete, I'm gonna let you talk a little bit about what you said and what you said this year.
Yeah, well, what I said on the podcast a couple weeks ago when we talked about that is just that when players believe they can win, they will just play better. And I think there was part of the team, and we saw it in the Purdue game, we saw it a little bit in the ODU game, that there was a little bit of a lack of juice. And we saw it once the Pitt game started and the offense looked a little bit different. It's like, oh, okay, these guys actually believe they have a chance to win. And I think Kyron was a huge part of that. And I actually wanted to I'm glad Fedora never got a hold of your son there, Kevin, because I'm not a huge fan of Larry Fedora, but that's a different topic. And I'm glad he's at Virginia Tech. But the Pitt game, I think one of you guys said it was validation. You trusted the process throughout, but leading it up into the season, and this is something I think the guys wanted to do as a state of the program in a retrospective. Kyron didn't win the starting job. And that was because you can't simulate his strengths in practice, just as you said. And so even if he is a gamer,
He's a gamer.
that's fine. He is a gamer. But the other fact of the matter is he was also just better. He was better. He wasn't able to exhibit it in practice. And a lot of people said that was because he didn't have the experience.
Bullshit.
He couldn't throw the ball as well as Grant Wells. We had seen Grant Wells play
It's because you don't light up your teammates in practice most of the time.
You don't do what Kyron did to that Purdue linebacker as he was running towards the boundary and literally said, "Mr. Jones, if you were there that night,
If I'm going out of bounds, I'm going through this guy.
I'm going through you." He went boom, and I remember Tally sat next to me at that game, and he said, "Holy shit!" Like he looked at that kid and said, "Fuck you! I'm gonna go through you, and I'm gonna get out of bounds to stop the clock." Now I'm gonna pitch something real quick. Robbie got to see Kyron at spring, and we talked to Robbie. And Robbie, I can't remember what you said back then, but it was just like he's a hoss, and the ball sounds different coming out of his hand.
Yeah. Being there, like I said, I've been involved in Virginia Tech football in some way for all three coaching staff that we all know. I've been coaching high school ball since 2005, and I've had kids recruited by Beamer and his crowd, by Fuente and his crowd, and now with Coach Pry. And I mean, Kyron seemed to fit a lot more of what they were used to doing. And when I watched them in practice, you could just see the composure, the way the ball came out of his hand, the way he was getting to receivers. It was different than what Wells was doing. And I told Brian and Curtis right afterwards, I was like, it's just a matter of time. You know, they're giving Wells the benefit of the doubt. And he was a great kid. You could tell there that Wells was a leader. Like he talked to the guys in a way that they listened. But you could just see the pure athletic ability and the things that Kyron was going to bring in. And it was just a matter of time until Coach Bowens could get everything worked out and knew that that was going to kick in to what they needed.
Well, can I ask Kevin a tough question based off what you're saying, Robert? Is just that you saw the bad offense last year with Grant Wells. It was one of the worst P5 offenses in the modern era. It really was. If you go through the numbers, the SP plus, whatever, it was terrible.
Yeah,
you come to
it was
this
bad.
season, the first few weeks of the year, we have a quarterback, he gets hurt, we put in Kyron, whatever. First 4 games, again, it looks bad. It can't move the ball. There's no consistency. All the numbers in an advanced way look terrible. Did you ever waver either as a parent or did you ever see Kyron waver in the process with Coach Tebow?
No, even in the Rutgers game, I talked to, I can't remember who I was talking to, but even in the Rutgers game, the first half looked like his first half starting. Let's be honest, he hadn't played in 2 years, 2.5 since the senior year. So,
Right.
It looked like that, but then he started getting comfortable in the second half, and you could tell when it started the Marshall game. I went to the Florida State Clemson game.
Yeah.
I'm watching on TV, on my phone, and he started off good, but I knew Tebow as a coach. I know Tebow's still working it out. He's got 2 different quarterbacks, so now he's got to try to figure the offense out in a short period of time. So you could see them getting better. They put up more points. They were in the game, had a chance right there at the end, and then we go into the Pitt game. The biggest game was when Pry told him, because Kyron at that time is still looking over his shoulder.
Dadgummit.
He still doesn't know if Grant is back. He doesn't know if his job is. So now he's out there trying to be perfect. So and I'm telling him, like, you just got to go be you. Yep. Well, credit to that staff, and that's the talk Tebow and them had with it. Like, just relax and go be you. You're going to, because that's,
they knew.
They tell you, when Pry said that he apologized to him after the game, Pry told him, this team we're going to win games. We're going to win games behind you. We're going to win next week because you.
It was because of that award designation. That's why he apologized because of that award designation on the starting QB.
Yep.
He apologized because he felt like we're losing. He's like, how am I going to get a job? And we've lost 2 games since I've been starting. And so the Pitt game was kind of when he, he was different. We went to the hotel, but when he kind of unleashed and did those celebrations and all that stuff, that was really like 2.5 years pent up. I hadn't been able to play because that's not really him. He hadn't done all of that, but he was just cutting loose. Like, okay, if I'm gonna get the job, if I'm not, I'm not. But I'm gonna go out.
He was loose then because he was loose. Like when you talk about that, like he had gotten to a point where he knew he wasn't looking over his shoulder anymore, so he could just go out there and play football again.
Yeah,
and that's amazing to see because I mean we saw. As the year progressed, just that comfort and the leadership really come out.
And it's the bond they have. I tell you, they're close. They're all of them. Like, it's the line, it's Bayshole, it's Felton, it's Lane, it's Ali. Gosnell. He was so happy when Gosnell got his first touchdown. That was on his mind. Like, Gosnell hadn't scored since he's been in college. Like, we got to get him in the end zone.
Yeah, get him in the end zone.
It was, they have a genuine like APR, all those guys defensively, like they have a great bond. It's what you want. Awesome. And it kind of reminds me, and I remember when, Kyron went to Baylor, they were coming off that horrible season. Yeah. And then all of them ran it back. It was the same thing. Like all them dudes came, Petrie and all them dudes came back. Yep. And then they ended up winning the Sugar Bowl and beat Oklahoma State in the Big 12. But it's this kind of reminds a lot of older guys coming back. They kind of all join forces and
it feels special again.
You got older guys coming back with a really solid youth movement.
Yeah,
I think that's the big thing. And I'm actually I'm gonna kick it over to Dan here a little bit because Dan hadn't got a chance to jump in here. I want Dan to talk a little bit of, like, Dan's talked to a lot of the coaches.
Yes,
he's talked to a lot of the players. So, Dan, tell me a little bit about some of those conversations that you've had with some of those coaches over the time and how that kind of relates to what we're talking about here with kind of the the team kind of taking that next step once Kyron Drones took over at quarterback?
Well, I remember pre-spring game panel, Pete asked who's going to be QB1. And I said, Ollie Jennings didn't come to Virginia Tech to catch passes from Grant Wells.
He did say that. He said that. I remember hearing him say that.
I was there. I was next to him.
Yep.
And people label me as like Grant Wells fanboy number one just because I never shit on the kid. Because that's not really what I do. Like, if you play bad, I'll say it, but I'm never going to like be like, oh, this kid fucking sucks. Like, you know. But after I saw that one series from Kyron in the Purdue game, I tweeted, we can't ever go back. He's the one. And he's been the one the whole time. And I think, like, everybody was like, Tebow sucks. We got to get rid of Tebow. He's not the answer. This offense is crap. But then, like, come the Purdue game, or not Purdue, but the Pittsburgh game, we saw, like, the shit open up. And, like, we started seeing all this stuff. And Kyron, he doesn't get shook ever. Like, he's just the same dude. And I feel like the whole team was, like, our leader. I feel like Grant got in his head a lot, whereas Kyron doesn't, no matter what, good or bad. Like his dad was saying, like, he's always been even keel. But it was kind of crazy. Like, everybody took on this mentality, like, yo, like, if this dude believes nonstop 100%, no matter what, we believe nonstop, no matter what.
Yeah.
And it showed because we took on the identity of we're going to beat your ass for 4 quarters, like, regardless of, you know, we lost a couple, but at the same time, it was like we played physical. We hadn't seen physical hokey ball in forever. And not only do we have the skilled players to run it up, but it was just like a dominant between Bashal, Kyron, and Malachi. Like, they were just, like, putting defenses in the dirt, and eventually we were able to break a couple, you know, and it all came to fruition at UVA when we just ran them out of their own building. And
That was so much fun.
I had talked to the coaches before the season, and they were kind of just like, we need to make a bowl. Like, let's just make a bowl, and then recruiting, it'll take off. And when we were like 1-3, where I was leaving the Marshall game, I was a little dead inside. I was like, what the hell is going on? Like, what are we going to do? And then it was just like, I don't know what happened, but it just changed. And a light came on, and we just never looked back. I mean, we took our lumps because at the same time, we're still trying to rebuild the roster, right? But we beat the shit out of bad teams, and that's what you need. That's what good teams do.
That's what good teams do.
And so, and now everybody's coming back, bro. Come on.
Running it back 100%. And Dan, that game we played good enough to win that game. Mr. Drones, Kevin, you said a little while ago, it was the Pitt game. And there's been questions amongst this fan base, podcast community, Twitter community. When are you going to know? Like, when are you going to know we're back? And it was a part of that Pitt game. It felt it because we get the lead, and the next thing you know, the sack fumble happens. And it was like, I think Tally, I felt like you, and this is 3 months, this is 4 months ago now. Tally texted me, oh shit, not again. Yeah. And then the next drive, they went out there, and it was just like this. They mentioned the NC State game. We went out there, we drove down the field, it wasn't a problem. But I'm going to flip to something real quick because it felt like the Pitt game. But I want to talk about 2024. Let's get Chris back in here for a little while. Chris, and Kevin too, because obviously your son has obviously had some interactions and we've all been watching. But once Keelan committed and he was in the boat and he was like, this is where I'm going to be, who did he connect with in the class? And who did you get to meet, whether it be parents, players, where it's like, that kid's going to be a dog when he gets down to Tech?
See, well, like y'all, like somebody just asked me today, like, who are you affiliated to? I've been like floating in, meeting everybody, just real low key. Like, I met, Kevin's wife. She was like, hey, can I use that picture for this? I'm like, yeah, no problem. And then I just introduced myself. I like being able to just to float in and meet people and just be a guy. But for I guess for us was we connected with, like I said, I met Chaz Wiggins at Penn State at his junior day. Gabe Williams is really, really huge. By going into these spaces and going into listening to your podcast, I met y'all, so I was able to meet, Don V. I met Dan by listening to his podcast. So it's kind of like meeting the guys and meeting the kids, because to them, I'm just a parent. But to kind of just watch them progress and stuff, because I'm a huge fan of damn near every kid on here. I love Emmett Law's story. I'm a big fan of Quentin Reddish because he's from Charlotte. Because, like I say, 704 dudes are built different.
He's gonna be a dude. He's gonna be a dude.
Yeah, he's gonna be. He's gonna be.
Make sure you don't get targeted anybody.
Yeah, I mean,
he like to hit motherfuckers.
He gonna knock people out. Josh Clark, I met his dad because he coached at TC Williams. So I'm a big Remember the Titans guy, and movie guy. So I met his dad, met him. So I met a lot of these kids, the linemen. I introduced myself to them. So it's kind of like I've been able to meet all of them. So for them to get these 16 kids, I mean, even with Kamari Copeland, when they got here, the other day for their visit, I made sure I introduced myself to them and talked to them, and so I'm kind of really into this class, but I always give reverence and honor to the 23 class because they got in the boat when this was going nowhere. Dude, let me explain something to y'all, man. When we went 1-3, y'all reference back to the Pitt game that he changed. For KD1, for me, he changed at the Florida State game. I'm watching at home, and I see the look on his face after losing that game. Kevin, I know you probably saw it too. He was pissed.
Oh, yeah.
He was mad because he felt I can compete with these guys. And I told my wife right then and there, I said, oh, snap. That dude, he's the guy. I said, we will not be the same. That dude is different. Like, I saw him, and like you said, Dan, when I met him the first time, he just finished throwing with Ollie. You're right. He never came to Virginia Tech to play with Grant Wells. He came for Kyron Drones.
We were on the same visit.
Yeah, right.
We were on the same visit.
He came to see.
Oh, we know.
We
know. We was looking.
We followed that one.
I'm coming.
Absolutely.
But the mentality of the players matches the mentality of the coaches. I'm gonna share a text right now, and it's not inside information at all, so I can share it. I texted Cheetah after ODU, and I was like,
Insider.
lock them down on Saturday. Relax. I was like, lock them down on Saturday, coach. I was like, love that for Dorian. Cheetahs look good. He said they played well, but we still have work to do. I took this job to be elite, not just okay. We're still a work in progress.
Right.
And I was like, see, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I mean,
great. So,
everybody's bought in. Everybody's bought in.
So it was like, because me and Coach Mons, and I hate with y'all, I talk to Fontel every day. I mean, Fontel's like my brother. No. He got a relationship with the kid, but and I got like 5 names for Keelan. Like I call him the Phenom, Neo. I call him all kinds of different names. But me and Fontel talk every day, and I ended up really interacting with the bad boys the whole time. So when they went 1-3, and I was hitting those guys every day, like, yo, stay in the process. When Ali went down, I really talked to those guys a lot. But I just watched them change after that Florida State game because they felt like they could compete with those guys. But they felt like they can compete, and they were pissed that they didn't play better. The only other time I felt like, to me personally, I don't know about y'all, the only time I felt like they kind of packed it in, and I asked them personally, Kevin, I went and asked them, I said, hey man, did y'all ask pack it in against Louisville? And I was talking to one of my favorite coaches there, Xavier Deeby. He said, man, they saw them get off the bus, and physically they didn't think they were ready to play with them. And you could see the way that they played. So this is still a very, very young team, but they're a young team, but they're kids that are like growing into this thing. And every phase of this football team is learning and growing together. So that's why everybody coming back, like you said, Kevin, is to the point, it's buy-in, because they're like, hey, now we got our leader. Now we spent time with each other. Now we believe in each other. Now let's go take the next step and take this. So me personally as a dad and dropping my kid off, as the absolute best wide receiver to come out of Hampton Roads since Percy Harvin, goddamn
Virginia.
You know what I'm saying? And I've been drinking, so I'm talking. Yeah,
we all been drinking. We all been drinking. I'm gonna hit it. Hold on.
Now.
I'm gonna hit everybody up because I got a feeling Chris's guy in this class is Chance because of it's the wide receiver room. It's you met the Penn State trips. Let me hit y'all one by one. Kevin, you're gonna go last because you're on the team and it's tough to follow recruiting and keep up with your kid. Brian, favorite player in this class?
Man, I'm excited to see Tyler Mason, to be honest. Like, he has went out there and torched that crew at that level in North Carolina, like video game numbers. If that can translate at all against that step up in competition, it's gonna be filthy.
Robbie, I'm gonna go to you next because Tyler's in your neck of the woods and you saw him play a couple times.
Tyler and Mr. Dandy.
Yeah,
and there are some people that call him Mr. Dandy because of the things that he does. Let's just get that straight. Those two are going to be impressive to watch. There ain't no doubt. But these receivers they got coming in with this 24 class, I mean, you got a lot of receivers coming back, but you got some kids coming in that are going to push every
different
aspect of them. And I know Coach Mines from his time at ECU when I was there in Greenville. And I mean, he's gonna get the absolute best out of everybody. So I'm really excited to see some of those receivers coming in there. And just one thing I wanted to add, Chris, you're talking about how you talk to those guys, the receivers, the coaches, the things like that. But we're talking about the state of the program. That tells you right there where the program is now compared to where it was before. Because as a coach that was having kids recruited to try to go to Virginia Tech, and I couldn't hardly get some of them on the phone occasionally.
Right.
And now they've got kids that are there that are talking to parents of other people that can help them and motivate things.
Right.
That tells you where the program is right now.
Yeah.
And what's changed and why things are improving. That is what that state of the program is different now than it was just 3 years ago.
Cheers to that, Robbie. Cheers to that. Yeah. PB, you look at this class, 2024, who's your guy?
It's hard not to look at Gabe Williams because one of his rating and his tape is so impressive, but two, because of our linebacker play this past season. And this is not a disrespect to any of the current guys on the roster. There's a lot of athletic linebackers on this roster that may not have a full grasp of the defense yet, but someone like Gabe could come in and be a game changer. And with the way he's seemed to be loving on Virginia Tech and recruiting other guys to come to Virginia Tech, I'm rooting for the kid. I really am. And so it's an easy answer because he's the top recruit in the class, but I think it's a very important position going forward. Not that any of the other ones aren't, but I did want to, we kind of been loving on both of the kids of these two men that are on the show. And I asked KD a tough question. I kind of have a tough question for Chris before we get to Dan's maybe favorite player in the class. It's just that we see the four guys coming back in the wide receiver room, the bad boys. They're all back. That's exciting. Some of them know their targets are going down for next year because it's simply not enough footballs to go around. Keelan coming in. Now he's the new guy. And he might have more talent than all of them, but he's still the new guy and he's the young guy. That is he going to be okay with that kind of competition and coming in and maybe not getting on the field as much as he would at some other schools?
Hey man, I'll tell y'all this so y'all can totally understand it. I am so excited that all four of those guys are coming back. Because you got to understand, I know what his ultimate goal is. And so it's different between being a high school kid and being a college athlete. Because you go from being, and coach, you know what, and both coaches, y'all know this, you go from 100% of the people playing to 7% of the people that you know playing. You go from being, my best friend Rod Clay said to me this years ago, you go from being the man to being one of the men. And so you get 15 years of college experience inside of that room, from Ollie Jennings to get Daquan Felton, Jalen Lane, and Stephen Gosnell. All four of those guys going through that first 6 months of being away from home on the college campus, going through all that, as well as the practices and everything else that come along with it. He gonna need that. So for me, I'm gonna be totally honest with you. I told him we talked about it one day And I was like, hey, how do you feel about it? He said, my chance is going to come. He said, I love the fact that they're coming back. I love the fact that I get to sit in that room and I get to learn how to be a college athlete. So I said, what do? He said, we were special on special teams. We make sure every rep we rep like it's a game time rep. And then when we get our opportunities, we get our opportunities. And I'm set, man. I'm totally set. So if he comes on the scene this year and he gets the kind of time on the field that Aiden Green got, but he's able to play in the X and he's playing at the X outside and playing inside of the slot, then I know he's going to get his touches because I know he's going to get on somebody's child who's really not a football player. He's really an accountant, but he's on a football scholarship. So
going pro in something other than sports.
Yeah, going pro in something sports. So I know he's going to get that. Then he's got a Heisman candidate quarterback. Yeah, I'm saying that. I've been saying that for a while. You know what I'm saying?
Let's put it out, baby.
And then you're going to get it out. And then he gets the point that he's going to get the opportunity to work inside of that. So I'm totally excited, man. I saw somebody say on Twitter earlier today, and we drinking, about who UVA got. And I was like, I saw that kid when he was in high school, but I knew he played in private school. So I know what private school and if I know in Richmond, he played in Richmond. So you got Hermitage, you got Highland Springs, you got all those other schools he could have went to. Yeah, but he went and played in a private school. So I said, okay, he ain't played against nobody. And then he goes down to North Carolina and he don't get on the field. There's something wrong with that.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there. But going back to what you said, I think it's the best thing for him as well as Chance. And I also think what ends up happening, those guys that are there, they gotta get what Mons has done is push the ante up. You gotta reach to the level of
the standard. He said he always says that the standard has been raised.
Navy guy, the tide raises all boats.
There you go, baby.
There you go. So the tide has been raised. Quan Felton is gonna raise the tide because he's a can't go back all-star. He can't come back to Churchland and Portsmouth and do nothing because he don't want to go work in the shipyard, right? He ain't trying to do none of that. He's trying to go pro. So Ollie Jennings knows this is his last chance for him to get seen and get good tape. So the tide is raised. Stephen Gosnell knows who he is. Jay Lane could have went to the pros this year. He came back. So my kid gets to get a master's class in how to be a college athlete and work around great kids, great guys on a regular. Go ahead.
I was hoping you would answer that question exactly like that. And so I'm so happy because that's basically what I was thinking is that the veteran leadership and to learn from Stephen Gosnell, his story from this past offseason and Fontel Mines saying is the best offseason he's seen out of any athlete. Like that is a great kid to be in the room with your son and learn from.
My going into the season, the guy who I was loving all morning, I told Miles, I said, man, I love Tucker Holloway. I love Tucker Holloway to life, man. If you watch Tucker Holloway practice, man, he's a go-getter, man. He's gonna go get it and do what he has to do. But Tucker, I mean, y'all, we look at him as a punt return guy, but Tucker Holloway works as hard as anybody else out there, man. So
you got speed.
Man.
All right, let me pitch it down. Hard. I'm gonna go down. Let's talk Dan. Dan, now don't suck up, Dan. Just because who's your favorite player this year out of this class?
Well, if you would have asked me 4 days ago, I would have been like Keelan or Chance because those are the two I'm closest with as far as the recruits go. But any man or any kid that will take a train 5 hours.
Why you take my dude, man? Why you take my guy?
Cool.
Absolutely.
If you take a train 5 hours to go to school to make the best possible future for yourself, you were built different. And Emmett Laws, he's not the tallest dude. People knock his height, but that dude, like, dog. Give me Emmett Laws. I'm excited about that kid.
Yes, sir.
Such a position of need too. Like the combination of those two factors, I think, is going to be really big for him because that's a position where we need some depth, and he seems really hungry, and he's been a player. So I think he's going to have a big opportunity.
Chris, I'm gonna go back to you real quick, man. And I mentioned Chance, but I want you to look at just the overall structure of this class, and as you look at all these gentlemen coming in, obviously you intermingled with, the parents, the kids, the families. Was there anyone else that stood out to you? Obviously, I know Chance stood out to you a lot, but was there anybody else that stood out to you when they committed or when you met them? Like, man, that's a good kid. That kid looks physically built. Anybody?
Kamari Copeland.
Okay.
Kamari Copeland. Kamari Copeland's path to getting here, of wanting to play ball at this level, and doing the road that he did to get there, he's my guy. I root for him more. I root for him like crazy because he knew what he wanted to be able to do. The look on his face, man, when he got on campus, when I saw him Saturday, it was like he was in absolute heaven. He didn't want to go anywhere else. He knew this is where he wanted to get to. So Kamari Copeland, man, is the kid. Like, I love them all. I'm being honest with you. I love every last one of them, from Mr. Dancy to Tyler Mason. I mean, I love them all. I know all of them. My wife's like, who that's? Oh, that's Aiden Lynch. She's like, who? Yeah, I know him. So
that's the 6'7", 290 kid from Jersey, honey.
Jersey. The couple of kids, the guys from Ohio. She's like, oh, they're from Ohio. But Kamari Copeland is my guy to come from where he came from, to go through what he went through, and for him to get a chance to fulfill his dream, to a man, And I wasn't as blessed with as much talent as maybe some of you other guys, but to a man, that's my guy. I root for Kamari Copeland like crazy, man.
Yeah.
Good deal. Kevin, what about you, man? Did you get a chance to interact with any of these guys, or did obviously the quarterback room? Did you get to did Kyron have any interactions with Davi this year? Or
through Kyron, he was big on meeting Montavious. He was actually we FaceTime when Peoples was there with in APR. He's actually in APR. APR lives right underneath him, in the apartment downstairs. But he was in APR's talking to Peoples about trying to get him to come. And so I kind of knew the backstory and the Sam Brumfield and those are the honestly I was big in the portal because I wanted to reach out and help. Like I told, Tebow was like, do you mind reaching out to parents once we zero in on people, and tell them about your stuff? I was like, I had no problem. Just send them my way. Yeah. So I was big in the portal, not so much the high school. Now, Chris, of course, I know about.
Oh man, I'm the absolute worst. I will drive your kid all the way to Blacksburg. Top 7 kids. I'm being honest with you. They like, hey, I know.
Get in the van. We going.
Get in the van. We going.
All right, everybody. We need to pitch in. We need to start a GoFundMe for.
I asked Chris.
Just little gas. Just a little bit of gas.
Yeah.
Oh man, just a little gas, man.
Bro, I'd ask Chris.
Just tell me what the refillable gas card number is, and we'll get you set up.
We'll go.
Kevin, go ahead.
No, I was just saying I was pumped with the portal pickups we got. I thought, we addressed some needs that we needed. Sam Brumfield is with that experience and what he brings, and if he goes anywhere like the last Middle Tennessee State guy we got, it's gonna be great. And Peebles is huge. With that experience, and you put him on the line with APR and the way
Cole Nelson played.
Cole Nelson played at the end those last couple of games. I'm a
Burgos' game stepping up, man.
Burgos stepped up.
Corners coming back, and I hate Canteen left. I'm still holding out hope privately. I'm still holding out hope that
that he come back.
Come back.
Run it back. Let's get everybody, but.
Peebles and Sam Brumfield.
Hey, don't do that. Don't say get everybody, but I know you was going to say.
You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I
know what you're talking about.
You watch the show enough, you know who I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, I know.
Hey, I'm gonna talk to my boss man because Jeremy pays some of our bills over here. Jeremy, recruiting class, portal. Who are you excited to see? You drained the lizard.
I'm excited to see. I'm excited that we're actually bringing some offensive linemen in.
Indeed.
I hate to talk our offensive line. I hate to do it.
Yeah.
Because I appreciate everything the offensive line does all the time. But we are a few years removed from the Vice squad that was so good and does not get enough appreciation in a lot of ways. I'm glad we're bringing in some offensive linemen because that's what we need. We have to win the
Big
battle
belly
in the
bangs.
trenches because we have the skill positions already. We've
Yeah.
got them.
You're right. Absolutely.
Win the
Hey.
battle in the trenches, and guess what? We've got a championship.
Yeah, you
And
give me
Kyron
6
runs enough. We don't need him getting hit in the backfield too. You know what I'm saying? So let's protect our
Okay.
guy.
Right.
We bring
Yeah.
these kids on, and we actually have them go. We've got the skill positions. We got the playmakers. We can actually do this. We can have an actual playoff run if we do it right. And I'm glad we're filling those positions because guess what? We're spending the money to do it. We're going to do it right. Next year is a very big year for us. We have to do
Jeremy's
it.
starting to feel good.
I love that.
Yeah.
We know where we're at. It. Like,
Jeremy doing it.
we are 90 minutes in. This is normally the part of no return here.
He's lathered up.
We got to fire everything off right here. So
I didn't even
That
like that.
hopium
everybody,
flowing.
while I ask Tally a question, reload your drinks.
This is a much better Jeremy Counts than I saw on here last year.
Wait, hold on. The first thing
More
Jeremy said
excited.
immediately hold on, Robbie. The first thing Jeremy was talking about is we are on the trajectory back to where we were.
Yes.
That means Jeremy doesn't have to drink as much as we used to because it used to be a lot of drinking because it was like our asses has followed this team for 20 years. Like, what the
Yeah.
fuck is this shit?
Hey, Curtis, remember the first state of the program where it was just me, you, and Jeremy?
Oh, God, no. I really
After,
don't.
after Fuente was supposed to be fired but wasn't.
2020.
Oh, my
Fuente was supposed to be-
God.
Oh, God, it was bad.
Fucking
It
awful.
wasn't as bad as last year. Tally,
I was so mad
you were mad. You were drunk off Jameson.
because that was like COVID year.
Yeah, it was.
And also,
Oh,
I'm
wait.
in healthcare. I was dealing with fucking COVID year. And then
2020
we had
COVID
that.
year.
And then
So
we
it's us.
didn't fire him.
It's us three. We all got bottled.
No,
all
we had a
got-
press conference to say we were keeping him on the day the buyout dropped. That's what, that's
Yeah.
actually what we did.
First retainment press conference ever.
Oh
No,
God!
so, by the
Don't
way,
go
I
back
still
on.
to this day, if you look at Whit Babcock's face, Whit Babcock was ready to fire.
He
him.
looked like he had a
Somebody-
gun to his head, man.
Somebody
Like,
literally told Whit,
somebody
"You
had
ain't
a
fired."
gun to his head to go out to that
The-
press
the-
conference.
His body
Tally, I'm gonna
language.
pitch this
Yeah.
real quick. Hold on, y'all.
That's
Settle
a
it the
rough
fuck down. God damn, like being a sergeant on in a goddamn fraternity room.
God,
Tally.
Curtis,
Tally.
I'm gonna come after you, man.
Tally.
Hey, yep.
Recruiting class, portal class. Who's your favorite? Oh, wait, Kevin mixing it up there, baby. Shake it up, Kevin.
Did Pete already give his? Pete already
I already
gave his guy?
gave- I said Gabe. I said
everybody.
Gabe.
You were, me and you were left.
Yeah, you did say Gabe. Yeah, I forgot about that. So I don't know, man. I guess it's so much good stuff that goes into this recruiting class, the people that we got coming in. Like I like a guy like Chaz Wiggins because
Mhm.
he reminds me, that body size reminds me kind of what Quan gives us.
Mhm.
We didn't have a lot of big body receivers for a long time. So to see us get a receiver or see us get somebody that's going to fill the place of somebody who's leaving, that's good. But if I had to just pick one person out of this class, I guess I would probably go with Gerald Johnson, just the defensive lineman.
Yeah.
I mean, if
Yeah.
you watch his
Shout
if you
out
watch
Gerard,
his
man.
tape, man, like he's nasty.
Yes, sir.
He's nasty.
Yeah.
And like when you look
He's
at somebody
raw.
like APR, when you look at
Mhm.
somebody like APR, we watched him come out of high school and we always miss on those type kids. You know, like you see somebody that has that potential and we miss on them and they go to Florida or they go to, we see them pop up at Wake Forest or we see them pop up at Pitt. We don't get those type kids where, I think it was between us and UVA for him. And UVA's got some nice linemen in the last couple of years that I think, turned out to be decent defensive linemen. So to see him choose the Hokies and stick with it, like I'm excited for him to put some more weight on. I'm excited for him to get in there and mix it up.
Another 757.
All of
game
these
too,
kids, man.
Yep.
Yeah,
I was
another
about to say
757.
that,
in the
Pete.
beach,
I
baby.
was about to
Get
say
back.
that.
This
The
is-
two
this is
top
what I'll
recruits
say.
in this class are in the 757.
Best UVA.
We
This
have
is-
not
this is
said
what
that
I'll
in a
say, 'cause
long
I know
fucking
we all
time.
take-
And Kamari's
Yeah, we
number
all-
4. He's 757 too.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
went to Kellum
glad
High School.
Kamari-
Yep.
I'm
Yep.
glad Kamari came too because how many times we heard that Virginia Tech was my dream school, and then we were like, oh shit.
and they go
That's what
somewhere
Everett
else.
said.
I mean, Ollie said the same damn thing. I mean, Ollie's
He
back in the
good.
fold now, but Ollie said the same damn thing at the gate.
Yes, he
Yeah.
did. Tally,
This
go
is
back.
what I'll say though. No, you good. This is what I'll say. Like, because I've said it, we've had Mateo on our show a couple of times, and I always say the same thing to him. I always fuck with him. Like, those ratings, number one, don't mean shit once they
Let's
get on
talk
campus.
about it.
You know what I'm
We're
saying?
gonna talk about
The
it right
ratings
now.
don't mean
let's
shit
air it
when,
out.
when a
Let's air it
kid
out.
gets on campus. You know what I'm saying? So, offers, tape, different things that they do in high school is what somebody like probably this panel looks at. You know, you look at a kid like Keelan Adams. If he would have chose Ohio State or Alabama, there's no
He'd have
way
been a
his rating
5-star.
would have been
He'd have
where
been a
it's at.
5-star.
There's
He'd have been a
no way
5-star.
his rating is where it's at. So you know what
He'd
I'm
have been a
saying?
5-star.
I used to pay so much attention to like the stars or where our class is and things like that. But once you start looking at these kids' body of work, when you start like again, I'm not just trying to beat the drum that we're right, but we was fucking right. Go back and look at Kyron Drones in high school. Go back and look at him in high school, and he played in Texas against some of the best high school kids there are. And you gonna tell me that this kid ain't have something special? I don't care. I don't know what his rating was. I don't care what his rating was. I'm just telling you, when you start evaluating these kids or looking at these kids as a fan, you have to look at their body of work. You go look at what Chaz Wiggins. Chaz Wiggins is a monster.
You know what Kyron
If you
reminds
go
me
look at
of?
what he's doing at the wide receiver position, he is doing some shit that other wide receivers can't do because
No,
he's
he can't.
6'3" and damn near 210 pounds. Like, he's a big body receiver. So the rating system fucks me up a lot of times. And I know the only reason I brought that up is because we say the highest rated player we got, or this is it don't even matter because all of them should have been higher than they were because they started there. And then when they commit to a certain school because they don't have enough fans, they fucking drop the rating. So guess what, 247?
Clown
Fuck y'all.
Jeremy, hold on,
Fuck y'all
stop.
for that bullshit.
Jeremy, the boss
You know
man
what
spoke.
Kyron
Jeremy.
reminds me of? He
Go ahead.
reminds me of what we wanted Demetrius Davis to be, and we ended up being way better.
Well, he's way bigger.
Yeah, way bigger.
I also say no, he didn't because he ain't the same. Demetrius Davis was like 5'10". Kyron
That's what he was.
was
He was like the kid back in the day whenever he did commit.
Nah,
Like,
I will say this.
yeah, you talking about?
I wish I
and then
loved.
Tyrone came so long, and it's just like so much better than we even hoped.
So I'll say this. I hope somebody loves everyone on this panel the way Brad Cornelison loved a 5'10" quarterback. Because
And the jet sweep.
he loved a 5'10" quarterback with a limited arm talent, man.
Okay, so I want to make a point because Tally was bringing it up. And I'm gonna, man, y'all, Kevin, Chris, this is what I got to do. I deal with all these guys, bring them the fuck in, and we're gonna talk about something.
This is why Curtis is here, man.
This is why I'm here. And tonight I'm on bourbon. So here's the
It's
deal. Let's
wrangling.
talk about it because we're gonna talk about this. Let's talk about the star system because I don't like that shit. Because go look at Kyron when he came over. Kyron was a 4-star quarterback. Kyron produced in high school. Kyron won a state title. He wasn't long he was not that long at Baylor. It's not like he was there for 3 years and rode the bench. He had a game at West Virginia where he played good, cold. I think what irritated a lot of us this year, Chris, your son unfortunately took the brunt of it. So did Gabe Williams for a while there. These guys were elite players, top 300 guys. They committed to Tech. And just a few days later, Tally's texting me, fucking shit. Brody just went down from a 92 to an 89. Gabe went down from a freaking 93 to a. This is the shit that we all need to talk about. And I'm going to pitch it. I want to start with my two coaches, Kevin Robbie, because y'all have to deal with it. Kevin, your son did it. Robbie, you've had two kids who have went to the highest level of football. Then they went to the NFL. And if they go to the wrong place, oh, son, you're gonna get dropped. Are there anything they're doing other than what we think of is you didn't commute to Georgia or Alabama or Texas, so we're gonna drop your ass?
That's exactly what it is. Like
Mm.
at the end of the day,
Ooh, y'all.
you hope
Go
kids
ahead.
you go to the place that's going to prepare you the best to do what your ultimate goal is.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where the school is or what, it doesn't have to be the top school. Nobody says you have to go to Alabama to be in the NFL. You don't have to go to Georgia to be in the NFL.
No, you
At some
don't.
point, you just got to get on the field, but you got to be ready to produce once you get on the field. It doesn't matter where that is. You just want opportunity. And, you know, kind of like, you know, my thing was when both boys got in there, you know, Jeremiah was looking to increase the level of competition from UTEP to prepare himself for the NFL. He was further along in his career than Kyron was. Kyron was just looking for an opportunity to get on the field and prove that he could play. You know, so they had different passions going into the portal, and they were looking for different things. You know, Kyron just happened to find a home and a great coaching staff and fan base that was best for him. Jeremiah found the O-line coach that was best for him.
Yep.
You know, his thing, he had never played for a black O-line coach.
Okay.
You know,
Wow.
So it was, and it ain't many of them at that level.
That's
He
crazy.
had never
that's true.
played. So, you know, and that's why he went there. Like he could have went other places. He went to Ohio State and Miami and Oregon, all that stuff. But he chose the coach, not the program. You know what I'm saying? And it just so happened it was crazy. They both ended up in the ACC because we didn't think that. Like, you know, when they both in the portal, we're thinking it's going to be somewhere around here, UH, Oklahoma State, somewhere like that. And then we get this random call from Virginia Tech, and it was like, man, I grew up watching Virginia Tech. You know, I was watching the night the Lightning hit Corso's car.
That's funny.
I
That's funny.
don't know the Hokie is, but God is one of them.
When we were in that indoor facility, when it stormed, that's all I was thinking about. I was like, damn, it's happening again. So,
Hey, Sigla, we didn't walk enough around in the indoor facility to find Kevin that night.
No, we didn't.
yeah,
We found Kenny and Darlex that night. But we didn't find Kevin.
We
that
did
day.
find Kenny, man. We found
So
Kenny.
I interviewed
ahead,
Brian
man.
Steinspring, and he was talking about that night or whatever, and he said that
that
Mike
day.
Vick was in the tunnel. Mike Vick was in the tunnel. He was getting hype, and Steiny was like, "Hey man, like it's gonna be a massive delay. Like it's lightning out there. Like you got to chill." And he was like, "Don't matter. It can't hit me." Like,
That does sound like a Mike.
he's
Vick
like that
line
lightning
right
ain't go.
there.
He said lightning ain't gonna hit me.
Can't catch me, baby.
When it comes to those ratings and stuff, man, I've been through it with kids, and they focus. I've had some of them focus so much on it. We've tried to tell them that the best thing I can think of to look at it is like when you're taking AP classes compared to regular classes, it's weighted. So when certain people make you certain offers and you go to certain places, the weight of that offer carries more in that rating than, unfortunately, than what they put on the field and show. And I don't like that part of it. The whole thing with the stars and things like that. Look at what the kids doing on the field. Look at how the kids practicing. Look at how the kids playing. That's going to tell you the story of what you're going to get when he gets on the field. Not that number. I mean, I've seen kids. I've coached kids that they were too small. They were not fast enough. Ratings weren't high enough to go to these schools that they wanted to go to and they thought they could go to. Two of them right now in the NFL. Both of them have played in Super Bowls. So tell me that kid didn't measure up to what you thought because of some number on there. I don't. I mean, that's 20 years of high school experience and seeing things. Some of them get those numbers and it never pans out. I had one that went to Virginia Tech years ago. Numbers through the roof. He couldn't listen to what anybody would tell him.
Yep. I know exactly what you're talking about, too.
Exactly what you're talking
And I
about.
also say
So,
he's probably the best linebacker I've ever brought in and attempted to work with. He goes, and I say attempted because it's not going to last. And it didn't.
Sorry, Coach Cav told that story on me, man. He told that story about your guy on me, Robbie. I remember. Hey, Chris, but let me ask you how that affects, though. Is someone like, actually both of y'all, because, Chris Keelan coming out this year, and then Kevin coming out just a few years ago, do they watch it? Do they care about it? Because the honest truth is, I'm going to sit here, Keelan Adams was a 94. I hate to say that number. And now he's an 89 somehow. What changed with Keelan Adams? He's playing the same competition. He's burning them the same fucking way.
He's breaking state records left
all
and
of
right.
the state fucking records. He's a fucking all-state for his third year. And because he wanted to go Virginia Tech and not Alabama or not Georgia or not Texas or not Florida, we got to lower him down because he ain't that good. He ain't that good. That kid just fucking broke records. Go back through all of the guys who have played wide receiver in this state. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of good ones. Does he look at it or does he say, screw them, I'm going to show them on the field?
Okay, so I'm going to tell you his progression.
Go for it.
When they first came out with the class, and he was the number 11th ranked player in the country. In the country. And for a minute, he was like, I'm not getting the offers. I don't know what to do. And that really bothered him. Then before he took his first high school snap, he got 9 offers before he took his first high school snap. Then he was like, okay, I got these 9 offers. Then he turned around and the only thing that ever knocked Keelan down, and I always blame whenever he has something that goes left and I'm not there, Kevin, I blame me because I feel as his father, it's my responsibility to protect him. I was working. My wife took him to Baltimore to an Under Armour camp, and he ran the 40, right? And I wasn't there to not have him run the 40 because the 40 is a test that you really only need to take one time.
Yep.
You run it one time, and that's all you ever have to do. You never have to run it again. So he ran a 40. His time was atrocious, and they ranked him as he was slow. He wasn't this. But if you look at any of his tape, any of his huddle tape, Keelan has never been walked down in the years I've watched him play, ever. No one's ever caught him from behind, ever. So, and really be honest with you, he's faster now than he was last year. He's just more explosive than he was last year. So when Keelan went to that camp and Under Armour knocked him and hit him for that 40, because they were like, oh, if you run this 40, you can go to this All-American game. He'd be in the 9th grade. He's like, I just want to go to the All-American game. He didn't know if he just kept playing, he was going to get the opportunity to go to the All-American game. Yeah. So he turned around. They knocked him down. They rated him as he wasn't this, that, and the other. And then he kept working his way back up. So there was nothing he ever did wrong. He doesn't do a lot of social media stuff. Yeah. He doesn't like doing interviews. I have to fight him to get him to do interviews to make so people will talk to him. Yeah, you got him. You got him. I've been trying to get him to go on everybody's stuff so they can get to know him.
I see Dan.
Yeah, Dan's the guy. And but it was just to the point with him, he got to the point he says, I don't care about the rankings because I'm already committed and I'm going to college. And I'm good with the fact the only thing he was pissed about is when he took his star. Excuse me. So I'm the one that gets pissed about the star situation because to me, if he didn't do anything egregious off the field, like did something stupid, which he doesn't do, then what he's done on the field has been nothing but stellar. You know, he's been an excellent ball player on the field. I always say this like this. He caught more passes than Percy Harvins. Percy Harvins was the first guy I looked at when I came here to Virginia Beach. I saw him catch a bubble screen, make a step, and go away from everybody. I said, oh, that's what NFL speed looks like. I said, okay. That's what I said. So I said, okay, if he can pass him and get the yards and the touchdowns, everything else is through the roof.
So we'll take care of itself.
Right. So what I've always learned here, and I don't know, Kevin, if you feel like what happens down there in Texas, the 757 hates their own, okay? And we taping this so they'll be able to say it. The 757 hates their own. And I say that because all the great players that have ever come out of here, they don't come back. They don't come back to do stuff in the area. They love Iverson, but the other guys, they Xavier DB's right there in Virginia Tech. There shouldn't be a player that comes out of Phoebus that shouldn't go to Virginia Tech because Xavier DB is an absolute a stud. But because this area hates their own players, they don't come back.
That's crazy.
I mean, think about it. Y'all don't understand. Alonzo Mourning, if y'all didn't know he's from Chesapeake, you thought he was from Miami, right? D'Angelo Hall, I haven't seen him here in ever, right? Dre Bly just came here to rape the area when he was recruiting.
Rape
Carolina.
is the appropriate word.
Absolutely, rape the area when he went to Carolina. So those guys don't come back because those guys hate their own great players here. So for him, when they took his star, he was pissed. And low key,
LeVar.
Yeah, low key, I'm gonna say this to y'all. So I'm glad they took it. And I'm gonna tell you why. That kid, he's a different kid when he got a chip on his shoulder. He's an absolute different animal when you tell him he can't do something. So they took his star, they knocked him down, they said he wasn't this, and so he'll say, okay, if I'm that, let me prove it to you.
Let me show you what I got.
Yeah, let me show you what I got. So he's gonna come up there. Now, like I said, for me, and Kevin, you understand what I'm saying? Yeah, them 6 o'clock in the morning, that's gonna hit. I always say this to everybody. That 2 o'clock in the morning, everybody's gotta have their 2 o'clock in the morning moment. Mine was 1988. I'm flying from Charlotte, North Carolina to go to San Diego, California for boot camp. I'm there. We flew all day. I got there. I laid down at 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. They run down the hall with a garbage can bag and get your ass up and get ready. And I woke up and I was like, I don't know where I'm at and I can't get my ass home. So I got to figure it out. And so that's what he's got to have happen. But I don't think, I think like I told y'all before, I think being in that room, excuse me, with those group of guys will be fine. But the star system, I'm just waiting when it's officially he's at school so I can talk trash to 24/7 on 3 and rivals because I hate all of them because I think it really messes with kids' psyche because they have no idea what to do to get seen, to get ranked, to get rated, and all that stuff matters.
Yeah.
All that stuff matters when they're like, you'll see guys, you'll look at their write-ups. Like if you look at his Keelan's 24/7 write-up, they didn't compare him to a pro player. They compared him to a guy in college at fucking Penn State. Excuse me, I've been drinking. At fucking Penn State.
That's what it's about tonight.
Yeah.
Let it go.
He's at Penn State, God damn it. And so I'm like, how you gonna compare him to a guy that's in Penn State that hasn't broken out when you're trying to give him a comparison? You gave all these other jokers, pro guys, this guy, but y'all gave him a guy in college who's having a hard time figuring, whether he want to stay or want to go. He can't get the ball. He got an ass quarterback, all that kind of stuff. So it kind of pissed me off, but it doesn't affect him like it affects me. He's like, I don't care. I'm going to college. I got a free ride. So, I got. Well, I don't have a free ride. I got a ride I got to work for, but I got a great chance that I ain't got to go to school and pay no college student debt.
Right.
And that's his mindset.
That's why I wanted to leave that Dwight Vick quote up there. Curtis, throw it back on there.
I'm throwing it back because I'm also messaging Dwight to see if he wants to hop on with us tonight.
Man,
that is my guy, man. Between
Dwight
Allen
is
and
the
Dwight
dude.
Vick, I love them so much, man.
Everybody
For them just spending
Dwight.
time when you're talking to me, man. I love those cats, man.
I like every one of you have been very vocal on Twitter and other platforms about this whole thing. I remember they dropped Keelan, and Keelan hadn't had any new tape in like 7 or 8 months. So I'm like, where's your
we
evidence
railed
to
on
drop
that
this
shit.
kid?
I mean, we railed on it. Dan railed on it. Pete
So,
railed
like,
on it.
No, they
three words, baby. 3 words. Ball don't lie.
No, dude, they dropped him. They dropped him after he broke the touchdown record.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Clown dick behavior.
Yeah. I turned around, I clicked on it, and I was just scrolling. I was like, what? They dropped him. So his mama is like, y'all got me. His mom's real bad. She like she goes off because she felt like they attacking her baby. Kevin,
Yep.
you know how that is. You don't attack my baby.
Woo.
No matter what. Huh?
I've had some serious talks with my
Don't mess with mama, man. Don't mess with mama.
Between
She'll
mama,
come at
Amy,
you.
and girlfriend, I done had some serious talks.
Yeah, man.
And then when you look at it on the other side, the kid who we had committed for a long time,
Marcellus Barnes.
Marcellus Barnes.
Marcellus Barnes, right?
Yeah, they start writing up stuff. They had him as a 3-star the whole time, and then they start writing up stuff about him going to Georgia, and then he jumps to a 4-star. I say, you son of a bitches! Like, what are we doing? Like, y'all just making it obvious. Y'all making it obvious what it is. So, come on, man.
I've had guys say, "Hey, listen, the reason they dropped him because he went here." I said, "What the fuck? What does that mean?" So
watch the fucking tape. You know what I'm saying? Like, watch the fucking tape.
His tape is what his tape is. And you know, and it goes from there. So it's just to the point where when it gets back, not if, but when it get back to the point that we're winning 8, 9, 10 games, we're winning bowl games, we're being decisive. Then when kids decide to come here, then coaches, y'all know the narrative will change. Well, hey, I mean, shoot, I'll be honest with you. There's been kids this past cycle who jumped out who in the portal. They're hitting me like, "Hey, Chris, you know, hey, coach, hey," and I ain't coaching nothing. "Hey, coach, can you go call and talk to such and such and such and such to get me in?" And I'm telling them point blank, "Hey, man, ain't no room." And they look at me, "What you mean ain't no room?" I said,
"No room this year.
There is no room." So we doing the state of the program. I'm looking at it's a quarterback. Yeah, there's a cornerback. Yeah. I said, "There's a cornerback. Hey, there's no room in that room." They said, "What you mean?" I said, "Because they got this guy, they got this guy, they got this guy that they got last year. You know, they got a Dante Lovett, they got a Braylon Johnson, they're like, God damn, Chris, how you know?" I said, "Because it's what I do. I ain't got nothing else to do. You know, I'm watching it." I said, "Ain't no
Ball
room.
knower.
They're not gonna bring you in, and they got these cats over here who jumped in the boat when nobody else wanted to jump in the boat."
Oh boy!
Oh, geez.
Join us, baby.
Oh snap,
man.
We got him.
My
Oh my dude, what's up, big fella?
Hey,
What's up, man?
Big
you
Vic
doing,
in the
baby?
building.
Yeah.
Hey, what's good? What's good,
Hey,
man?
we said we keep it loose, man. If they want to jump on, hey, here we are. Dwight
That's
Vick.
what's up.
I messaged Dwight earlier and I say, "Dwight, you going up to the bowl game?" He didn't get back to me because I know his son's playing hoops.
No.
We on right
His
now.
son
I'm
balling.
Curtis.
Yo, did you see
His
that
son is
ball
driving through the
tonight?
lane and dunking on kids.
Hey, man, yo.
I meant to respond, and I got tired of. I looked at the message when you said you want to get on. I said, "Damn, I never responded to your first question." Yes, I will be at the bowl game. Yes,
We
I'll
made
be
up
there.
then.
That's fire.
Dwight,
Yeah.
I'll be there. I
Slide
want
through the
to meet you.
tailgate. Slide through the tailgate, my man.
Okay. Hey, I will. By the way, Chris is dropping knowledge, bro. Like, so listen, I used to write for 247 Sports.
Yep.
Now before that, I wrote for Rivals. So I wrote for Rivals on Hokie Haven. I had a column called Vic's Viewpoints, and it was when Brian Moore ran Hokie Haven, and he left, and 247 popped off. I joined 247 with CCY, Evan, and some other guys. I had a great time. And because I did stuff, I used to do football camps back then. And that's when I got the behind the scenes stuff of how it works. And I used to get into it with those guys, not Evan Watkins, but like, for example, this guy.
I heard you fist fought Evan Watkins in a parking lot. That's what I heard.
What? Nah.
I said I heard you fist fought Evan Watkins in a parking lot.
Jeremy. Evan's my guy. But like, I just got into it with a few guys for other sites, and I would say, y'all are so biased. Like, for example, one year, I don't know if y'all remember this. Oscar Smith had Josh Sweat, J.C. Coleman,
Yes, sir.
Andrew Brown. They had another guy. They had another guy that went. He went to Tech. He's a 4-star receiver, right? He ended up not playing long. They played Centerville in the state championship at UVA. Centerville smoked them, right?
Yep.
The whole year, Centerville was number one in the state for most of the year. And I got into it with my guy that runs the Cavs Corner, Brad. And I said, "Why did y'all not cover any of Northern Virginia, especially Centerville?" I said, "What kind?" He was like, "Well, we just couldn't get up there." I said, y'all kill me when y'all can't get to certain schools, but y'all find a way with getting a lot of coverage to schools that are gonna give y'all a lot of bump. So, for example, I have nothing against Oscar Smith. Oscar Smith is one of the best programs in the state year in and year out.
They will give you buzz though.
But they're gonna give you buzz because they had Andrew Brown, Josh Sweat, J.C. Coleman. J.C. Coleman, shout out to my brother. But like, if you're gonna be in this business, be fair. Be non-biased. I'm a 7'5" guy, but I'm
Right.
not biased against the 804, 703, or even Southwest Virginia. That's my own thing.
So
Chris,
Dwight,
You was
you're
dropping
you're
out, bro.
you're saying basically that in some ways the way these rankings work, and for one thing, having only 5 stars seems a little inappropriate. It seems you're a 3 or a 4. There's not enough
diminishes it, yeah.
variation, exactly. But that's besides the point. They base a lot of this off the committable offers. It's not just offers; it's committable offers. So that way, when you accept that offer from Georgia or whatever it may be, they'll bump you. So they're basing their ratings off of other people's work. And so if you want to do that, that's fine to base it off someone else's work, but you got to be upfront about that. That
Be
we're
transparent.
moving these kids up and down because of where they're getting offers that we know are committable and they're doing it. But that's not what they say. They say this is our ranking. And when they get more NFL draft picks right out of their top 2, 4, 7, they take credit. But you're basing those rankings off of the committable offers, which means you're using the coaches' evaluations. For a school
But
like
also
Virginia,
at that point, but
go ahead.
Go ahead, Jeremy.
it's a little too personal.
Yes, and it's subjective to every school and their needs and the way they evaluate. For Virginia Tech, it's going to be about whether we hit with Pry and his staff. If we believe that their evaluations are correct, we're in a position where none of our guys, because of the way this system works, it's always going to be more challenging for us to get the 8 4-stars, the 9 4-stars in a class, because unfortunately, Keelan Adams is going to commit and he's going to drop, and this
Can-
guy's going to commit and he's going
Can
to
I
drop.
jump in, Pete?
Sure.
Can I jump in? So here's the thing, and this is my issue, and I hate saying this, but I always keep it honest, especially when I jump on this joint with y'all. The issue I have, just because I play football does not mean I know everything and I know how to evaluate talent. Doesn't mean I can coach. You guys have just as much as insight that I do. However, my
No, we
issue
don't.
is some of those guys, many of those guys that are covering these little websites and these different like recruiting sites, they don't have the insight or wherewithal to understand how you should evaluate. So, for example, several years ago, I was doing the Kyle Bailey show before he started covering the Panthers and the Hornets, and he used to have a show in Blacksburg.
Kyle is
And I
that dude.
I jumped on with Cal. Cal's one of my closest friends. I jumped on with Cal and I talked about a lineman, a Tech guy, who I like based on the film. I immediately got a text. I'm not going to say the guy's name, but he worked for Rivals, and he was like, "Really, Vic? Really? He has offers from Bowling Green, JMU, blah blah blah." And I said, "But yet y'all hyping the other guy who is a 4-star who I seen get worked every time I saw him play in the camp." And the thing about it is that y'all looking at he got Big Ten offers. I said, if you look at where he plays in the Midwest, he's playing against linemen the size of my 13-year-old daughter. He's not going against dogs. So when he gets to, and sure enough, I was right again. My point being is some of these guys, many of these guys get these jobs because they're fanboys. They don't know how to evaluate. And this is what I think, and this I'm going to stand on this right quick. This is what I think Brendan Hill was trying to say, but I think he's so outspoken. Some fans, Tech fans, got mad.
I know what you're about to say.
Hill's not saying Tech does not need 5 and 4 stars. He's saying many of these guys that are labeled 5 and 4 stars aren't the dogs y'all think they are. They're not. They're not. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm gonna trust a guy like
when B Hill said stars don't matter, it wasn't that
Stars don't matter.
You don't need to get the best players on campus. It's that you need to look beyond just what the stars say.
You damn
And
right.
you especially need to
Yeah.
look beyond
I
what the
feel like-
stars say when you're at Virginia Tech. Like,
I feel like
go ahead, Dan.
I feel like a lot of these they're stat watching, because I'm gonna use the Texas kid for an example. Cam Ward, his high school was very run dominant, I believe, so he ain't have the numbers. So he ended up at
Damn.
Incarnate Ward.
Damn.
This man is nasty.
Preaching.
Wing T.
Hold on. Go ahead. Kevin.
Preaching.
Yeah.
Be preaching.
That's Kyron's
Hey.
cousin.
You telling me
That's right.
Cam
That's
Ward's
right.
not a 4 or
Yeah,
5-star
yeah.
quarterback?
Cam
Man.
Ward is Kyron's cousin. They ran the Wing T.
Yep.
Yeah.
No
In high school.
shit.
I tell you,
Yeah.
he's got the
Who
freshest
said all
arm in
black
America.
people are
I didn't know
related
that.
earlier?
Sally.
I found that out this past
Sally.
weekend.
It's full circle. Full circle. That's
Full
what we
circle
love.
right here.
Where's he
They're
going,
in the
JD?
wing team.
Where's Cam Ward going to end up? Is it going to be FSU? Is it going to be
It probably
Miami?
is.
Yeah.
It's not
that
Incarnate
shit.
Word.
gonna be
It's not
somebody we
Incarnate
play.
Word, and that's my point.
I need him out of the ACC. I need him out of the ACC so my quarterback.
Whoa,
is
whoa,
winning
whoa,
the
whoa. Hey, Keelan. No, Chris. You know
Yes.
why we want them in the ACC?
Why?
It's going to be December next year. Charlotte.
Charlotte.
All this
Yeah.
truth right here going to be there because
Yeah.
we're going to stay at Robbie's house for the
That's
night.
what's-
Drive
that's
down for 90 minutes.
Nah, we
That's
gonna
what
be in the
we
we gonna be in the
No,
stands next
I'm
to
gonna
each
get
other
a
talking
hotel
about
room.
this.
That's what we're going
Fucking
to do.
adult.
But
You damn
I'll
right.
give. Yeah,
But-
I'll give y'all. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No,
I'll be
no, no.
quiet.
Miss- Go ahead, Chris. Go ahead, Chris.
No. But what y'all was saying about and Dwight was saying about what they say is that the only reason Key never got his 5th star beforehand, and I had one of the writers from 24/7 says, well, he doesn't run track, and Keelan was like, why do I need to run track? No one has ever caught me from behind.
Watch the
I
tape.
Yeah. My
Come
tape.
on
He
with
said
shit,
my
man.
tape stands
It's cool
alone
with shit.
that I've never been walked down from behind, and I work on explosiveness all the time to get bigger, faster, and stronger. Why do I?
People
need to
don't
run
talk
track?
about game speed versus like raw
And
speed.
you don't run track.
People don't
and
talk
pad,
about that
so-
enough. Game speed is a different animal.
It is,
Yeah.
but also, I mean, Kevin can also understand. Listen, man, them dudes, those dudes, and Dwight, back in the day, they didn't have this. I mean, that kid, he looks at me, he gets pissed at me when I'm like, yo, this is your schedule for the week. And he looking at me like, yo, hey, man, I don't want to go to training 3 times this week, man. I don't want to go do this. Hey, I physically hurt. You know, Kevin, you got Kyron in the back of the car. He just lay in the back of the car like
But
somebody
I can
just
tell you
whooped him.
this.
Yeah.
It's funny, and we do these character talks.
Yeah.
And each coach has a person, you know, you
Right.
have a segment you got to talk about. So this is right after Kyron's senior year to spring. And I'm coming out of basketball and they're like, hey, you got to talk today. Like 5 minutes. I'm finna go talk to the team. I don't know what to talk about. So I was like, look, I think a lot of you kids are so hype on getting recruited and not the work that goes into it. Like you want the pictures, you want the notoriety, but you don't understand what goes behind it. And I said, I can just tell you from my house, that year, that was the COVID year.
Right.
So we lose to Katy, which is one of the premier programs in Houston, in Texas. So we lose to Katy on a Saturday afternoon. Kyron's already graduated. He's headed to Baylor. He's one of the Elite 11 finals, top 11.
Right,
in the country.
right.
And Sunday morning, I wake up to the ring on my phone, and he's leaving on his first workout. I don't know the last time I had to tell Kyron to go work out. Like he's gonna go do that on his own. Like like when he went off to school at 17, the first thing I was like, look, I don't worry about you on the field. I don't worry about you working out. All that is what you do. What I told him at 17 was you got to fall in love with the film and the process of learning the position, because you've gotten away with some stuff in high school. Now you got to learn how to take it and learn the classroom part of it.
Right.
The offensive, the quarterback being a quarterback. I don't worry about the other stuff. That stuff will take care of itself. So I want these kids, and I'm a recruiting coordinator, and I try to tell these kids, like, don't get caught up in going to take these photos and these pictures and do all this stuff, or what these write-ups say. Y'all probably see me on Twitter. I just say, hey, chop wood.
Yeah, okay.
Chop
Yeah.
wood.
I mean,
head down, chop wood.
Go to work.
Like, we're not even worried about all that.
Go to
Head
work.
down, chop wood.
Go to work. That's
Put
it.
it-
know,
put-
you were
put-
talking about
put- do what you do.
The
Do what you
stars.
do.
We go to Elite 11, and that's the COVID year. So we had to do like a video, like it wasn't a camp. So we had to video him running a 40. We had to take pictures of his hands and all that stuff. And he gets the call that he made it. So we go to Tennessee. And that year, the family could stay in the room with the kid. Well, I got a hotel in a different hotel. I got a room in a different hotel because I wanted him to focus on the competition.
Love that.
I have a conversation. It was funny y'all said Demetrius Davis. I have a conversation with his dad, and his dad's like, I said, hey, we're finna go back to our hotel. He was like, you're not staying with him? I was like, no. He's like, I said, nah, I want him to focus on his competition. I don't want him, us having the TV on or, him fighting with his sister or whatever. And he's like, they already know that the 11 are. You can tell your kid whatever you want to tell them. Right. At the end of that first day, the list comes out. The parents like, Dad, they got me number 5. I said, oh, they done fucked up.
They
put
right.
So listen, man.
Talk your shit, Kevin.
I want to say something right quick. I want to say something
Go
right
ahead,
quick, y'all. So when you hear stories like that of men being involved with their kids, I don't know how many people are involved like with sports. If you're just fans, you have to listen to stuff like that to understand recruiting. Because anytime I talk to y'all about recruiting, anytime I'm on Twitter, I talk to y'all as a fan, but also talk to y'all as a dad of a kid that is involved in sports. My son is 13. He's never played football. Like where we are, they ban football when you're small. It's you play flag football until you get to a certain age. He's in 8th grade this year, and he made all city as a wide receiver. He wanted to be a quarterback. He's left-handed. He's tall. He wanted to be a quarterback. They put him at wide receiver for a kid that can't throw. He just knows how to go up and get the ball. Now, I told him, and I'm saying this for a reason. I told him because everybody tells me that I'm too hard on my son. Because I told him,
no, you're not.
Look, you need to fall in love with the journey. You keep thinking about the
glory
end line.
The glory.
You keep thinking about the finish line. You want to talk to me about what the shoes look like that you're gonna wear. You want to talk to me about your wristband. You gotta fall in love with that journey to get there. And I told him, I said, excuse my language, nigga, you gonna get stuff just because you my son. I'm 6'2", 350 pounds. You gonna have a certain body because that's what all of our families be. You're gonna be tall, you're gonna be strong. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have a little bit of athleticism. You're gonna get that just because of your genetics. But to go to the next level, go to the next level, you gotta work. So when I hear Dwight talk about his son, I hear Chris, I hear Kevin. When y'all ask about recruiting, when we're on these spaces or when we on Twitter and people talk about recruiting or how do we do this, and man, listen, when you got men that's involved with their kids, that recruiting shit is totally different because they know some shit that you're not gonna get into. So
it's night and
day.
I want to add something. I'm glad Kevin spoke on that. And Tally, you right. I coached my son in football and basketball when he was elementary and middle school age. Right around the time he got to high school, he stopped playing football. That was his better sport at the time. But
he leaned into basketball.
He leaned into basketball. He grew 7 inches, so he's 6'7". And then but when he was young, he did football, basketball, and track. And being related to me, Mike, and Marcus, it was football came natural. But long story short, to Kevin's point and to your point, Tally, about the fatherhood and the male guidance of being a dad, it's tricky, and this is why it's different. That's why I have great insight with recruiting. So, for example, my son plays basketball, so most of us in our family are football players. So Isaiah is killing it on the court. So the last 2 years, he's heard from American, JMU, Mount St. Mary's, Boston College, a slew of HBCUs, some D2s. He's heard from a ton of schools, and because I've been through the process, he has a good head on his shoulders. He's humble, but he's got a lot of dog in him. He's got a lot of confidence. But it's hard because of social media, where he sees a guy where last year against Largo, Cam Ward, who's one of the best players in the DMV, Isaiah fouled him out in overtime and got MVP of the game. This was on NBC, regional. So all of East Coast, he got MVP. Then he also had other games where he dropped 20. They lost in the States, right? That summer, he played the last 2 years on DC Premier, which is the Under Armour circuit. With that being said, he was getting contacted by Georgia Southern, tons of schools. But for every school that reached out, then after a month, they would disappear. They would take somebody out the portal. The portal and the NIL, which I'm in favor of, has really hurt kids in high school. Like, if my son had played before the portal, he would have 15 offers by now. Now, here's the catch. You have to be involved because his mother and I, we're on him and we keep him locked in. He's got the right mindset because since he was 7 years old, he's been around D'Angelo Hall, Tyrod Taylor, Michael Vick, Deshaun Jackson, Roddy White.
He knows what it takes.
So he understands he loves the game. I don't have to wake him up to get shots up. He watches film. He knows it's a grind. He understands when the lights are on. So for example, the other night, Tuesday night, they played South Lakes with the top 2 teams in Division 6. And he had 17, 7 assists, 6 boards, 2 steals, 2 blocks against Jordan Scott. Jordan Scott had 28. However, Jordan Scott has an offer from Maryland and 15 other Power 5 schools, including Michigan State and Florida State. My son, that dunk you saw in the lanes, when he crossed him up, he dunked on it. After that game, by the time midnight came around, he had gained 30 new followers between D1 and D2 schools, Maryland, Coastal Carolina, a bunch of mid-majors, some Big Ten schools. And at the end of the day, the reason why the head coach from South Lakes that we beat sent out a blast to these college coaches, y'all need to get on Isaiah Vick. Now, here's the catch. Here's the catch. A lot of people hit him up, called him, said they're going to offer him. We're going to be by your school. They had practice day. Nobody showed up. Now, it's the holidays. They may be there in January. But the thing is, you have to have a father or you have to have somebody that has the rationale in their ear because Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, friends, trainers, podcasters, they're always evaluating these kids and saying what they think. And the kids have to have somebody in their household in their ear constantly, or you're going to have what you see with these kids going to UNC, going here, going here, going here, going here. And then by the time they don't have no career.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I just wanted to, I don't want to make it about me and my son, but Tally.
No, that's fine. That's good. That's why we got you.
Your kid is nice.
Yeah.
And I'm a basketball guy. Your kid is nice.
Can I say something while we talking about? I'm not a father, but also side note, Dwight, that tech they called on your kid for pulling up on the rim was weak. But
it was weak.
Called that. But what I was gonna say was, I only played through high school. I wasn't a world beater or nothing. My dad and I, we have a great relationship now. From age 6 to 26, we were not so good. I saw him like 4 times a year, family reunion, Easter, Thanksgiving, Christmas.
Me and you were right in the same boat. So
he would always give me money when he saw me. He'd be like, "Oh yeah, here's 100, here's 150." I'd be like, "That's cool," but like, you never came to a game ever. All I ever wanted was for my dad to come to a game. Never came. And my mom was there all the time, but the one thing that stuck in my head was Dad was never there. But so I appreciate all you men on here that have kids and you're actively involved in their sporting lives, and we're around some great fathers on this space, bro.
Dan is preaching right now because I don't know if y'all know, but Sigler had a very similar experience. My dad was definitely involved, but not someone that I saw very often. He lived in Richmond. I grew up in Halifax County. I saw my dad at a game once or twice a year. So shout out to Chris, shout out to Kevin for being there. Shout out to Tally for being the dad that he is. Shout out to Curtis for being the dad that he is.
We beat Nash down here.
You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of love here. I just want to acknowledge the dads that are doing what they need to do for everybody.
It's crazy. I'm gonna switch gears here in a minute, but I did want to say this. Just about, like I said, talking about my son. My son has never played travel basketball. He's been a baseball player. Tall left-hander that played.
Tally got some money.
That played.
You know what? That car business is good, guys.
Yeah, this man sold one too many Maseratis.
Hey, you know what, man? And it's crazy because, like I said, my son, man, like he was doing his thing in baseball, like rec league stuff, and a couple of parents was like, he's too good to play with these kids. He need to go and get some work. And baseball is a lot of money. You know, it is a lot of money that we've had to pay. But if that's going to get him to the next level and we can get him a college, get him into college without paying for it, that's what I'm searching for. But I say that for a reason. He's a baseball kid, but he plays every sport now. And this year in basketball, you know, he's thinned out a little bit. He's always been a little bit chunky. He's thinned out a little bit. You know, he's got taller. He's about 6 foot now, and he plays
He get that
every
growth
position
spurt.
Yeah, he's playing every position on the court. And Huntsville, where we live, is a big basketball city. There's a lot of basketball players that's come from here, and a lot of these kids start getting ranked in the 7th grade. Like we've got 8th graders and 7th graders. We've got 7th graders and 8th graders that's ranked and dunking, and they trying that dads are positioning them to move up to varsity, all type of stuff. So we played a school here one day, and my son's school that he go to, there's not a basketball school. You know, the main reason is the high school that they go to, the middle schools are broke up into about 4 different middle schools. So they got a couple of athletes at every middle school, blah, blah, blah. So the team that my son is on is not very good. And I told him before that game, I said, listen, I always send him some little devotional, and he used to get mad at me because he would think that I'm trying to coach him. I'm trying to make him do something. But now he craves it. He said, hey, man, you didn't send me. He said, you didn't send me nothing. You ain't send me nothing. You got to send me something. So we was playing the school. They got 2 kids that are ranked in the state on that team. One little boy, he's very good. He can already dunk. He can do a lot of stuff with the ball. And I told my son, I said, let me tell you something. I said, you're going to go play these kids, and you're going to lose. They got 20 people on their team, and y'all got 6. You're going to lose. I said, but you as a person can't lose. Go bust their ass. I said, you should be looking at that little boy, and whatever he scored, you should score. I said, don't listen to your coach. If he tell you to pass the ball and that little boy score, you fucking score. I said, you bust his ass all game. That's what I want you to do. And that little boy scored, I think, 13. He scored 13, and he may have had 6 rebounds. My son had 15 and 10. And they coaches came to me after the game and said, man, you got a dog on your hands. I said, y'all been paying for this. This is what we do. This is what we built. I bring all that up to say the players that we're getting into this program are built like that. They got men that's behind them that's showing them that's what we need. And that's the kind of players you want. But I want to switch gears a little bit because we've been talking about rankings and players in the class for a little bit.
Let Dwight go for a second.
I just want to
go ahead, Dwight.
I'm gonna let y'all get to that, and I can't wait to hear that. I just want to add one last point. What Coach Kevin was talking about his son Kyron, and then other players like that. I think the average fan doesn't realize. I'm not talking about even back in the 90s when I play. I'm talking about in general, and I don't think the average fan, parent, or even player in high school, whether it be football and basketball, really understands the grind of playing and being a collegiate athlete. Now, I don't think, like, I see all that stuff on Twitter, and I don't think fans understand what Kevin meant about being in love with the game. Like, y'all all know who my cousin is, right? And
We do.
Everything came natural to him, but when he fell in love with the game, even though he was lights out in Atlanta, you saw what he did in Philly, being a more complete quarterback, because he began to fall in love with the game, and plus God gave him a second chance. I see a lot of guys, I don't judge kids jumping in the portal because sometimes it's about being close to home. You got a family member sick, or you and the position coach don't vibe, or they just got too many guys at your position. I don't have a problem with it. But I do think there's something to be said about what Tally and Kevin said about, like, I send my son stuff. I say, hey, man, you need to pray. Make sure you talk to God. Thank God for that great game. Make sure you stay humble. I don't mind you talking trash, but stay locked in. Thank this person. Go talk to your coach. Like, be humble. But because when I got to Tech, this is going to sound funny. I joke about it, but I'm being dead serious. I'm from Newport News in Hampton, Virginia. So I experienced a lot of childhood trauma. So for me, it was like, I'm going to graduate Tech with some degrees, and I'm going to leave here with no charges and no children. All right? Yeah.
Hey. Boy, that's spot on.
But let me say this.
I know there's Blackburn Summers.
But let me say this. It was not easy all the time at Tech. People don't realize this. I may have said it on your show, Curtis, but I almost transferred from Tech my red shirt sophomore year. And I'm playing. I'm in the rotation, but I felt I should be starting. You know why I felt I should be starting? Because I was good, but the people back home in Newport News and Hampton kept saying, man, you should be starting, bro. They tripping. My dumb ass almost transferred to Hampton University because everybody was doing it. Now, here's the point.
That was 1996.
This is right? Tally and Kevin's point. I call home. My dad's a pastor, 50-something years been preaching. He says to me, he said, the hell are you talking about you coming back home to go to Hampton? You at Tech. You're lettering. You're playing against Rutgers and Boston College and Syracuse. You're playing. You got 2 years left. Why you want to come home? And again, that's the part about having, if it's not a dad, a father figure. And I think sometimes these kids miss out because I'm telling you right now, that's why I love signing day, but some of these kids are going to get here at Tech or Maryland or Norfolk State or Boston College or Syracuse, whatever, and they're like, damn, I got to get up at what time?
That's right.
I got to live at what time?
That's right.
And I don't think people understand, like, it is a business. It's a business in high school now.
Come on, man.
So
Hey,
I
man.
just put my 2 cents on that, man. You know,
Hey, like you, man, y'all have killed it. I can't add nothing to it, man. I just want to tell y'all, through this whole process, the guys I've reached out, I've talked to, I've reached out to you, like telling me and you just connected and stuff, man. I just appreciate y'all, man, because I know through this whole process, I've been able to kind of reach out to guys and say, hey, I know I'm doing the right thing. It was just like 3-4 months. It was like 3 months ago. me and Keelan was sitting here. I was like, hey man, I've been watching you, man, and like you're really, really good. And that dude jumped up off the couch, man, and hugged me. He said, bring it in, big fella, bring it in. He said, I've been working my ass off just to hear you say that. And it kind of threw me because I was like, you out here busting everybody's ass out here. He said, it don't matter what they think. It matters what you think. So I know Jeremy, he just left off here because, and probably the baby walk open, needed some milk, and his wife was probably about to beat his ass.
Exactly.
But I tell
he got a less than a 1-year-old. He is grinding every day, man.
Yeah. Listen, man, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I'm a father of 5, and I say this to every guy: if you got parents, if you got children, you haven't got them, enjoy the ride, because this thing's a flicker. This thing is an absolute flicker.
Every day, man, I am reminded of that. Like, I got a 10-year-old, and every day I'm like, how the hell do I have a 10-year-old?
This thing is a flicker. My daughter graduated from community college the other night, and I was like, God dang, man! I remember I was, when she had that first, milk high and passed out on me, you know what I'm saying, as a baby, man, and it is, this thing is a flicker, man, and I'm about to drop this kid off in 2 weeks, man, and I'm, my wife's like, don't cry. I was like, I'm trying not to, but I'm going to end up crying because,
it's going to happen.
What we do.
It's going to happen,
man. So
it happens more than normal.
And nobody on this show is going to judge you for that. Because,
you guys don't have to. Listen, y'all just go and get ready. I'm crying. Don't even get it out the way.
Absolutely.
The guys okay, Chris, man, the guys on this show, I got 3 kids. Tally got 2. Siegler got 1 over there. We ain't going to ever judge you for anything like that. And it's one of those
You can joke me on the side, though.
Oh, I'll joke.
I mean, we'll clown you, but we'll still do it too.
Don't worry, Chris. We're gonna find you at Lane Stadium.
If I'm being honest, tears are great content, so let them flow.
Go ahead. Hey, Brian, put up the quote that I think Coach Lewis put up. I want you. You see it? Do you see it? He says, Coach "Don't Lewis, listen to the coach shaking my head." Yeah, put that up because I'm finna go on a rant for a minute. Then I'm gonna ask Pete a question. Okay. So when I was talking about my son, you have to understand, when I say my son, that's my son. That's my son. I feed him. Here. I know what he can do. I know what he can't do. Some of these coaches that are in middle school, we're not talking about college. Yeah, we're not talking about college. We're not talking about coaches that are raising men. We're talking about a social science teacher that is getting paid an extra couple of dollars to coach a basketball team after school. Yeah, I know what my.
And if you're coaching in Virginia, you know what I'm talking about because you're getting maybe $1,500 stipend to coach that sport.
Come on, man.
When
you say don't tell your son not to listen to the coach. I don't tell him not to listen to his coaches. In that setting, in that game that we're talking about, yes, I told my son, don't listen to him when he tells you y'all need to hold the ball and there's no shot clock. We just gonna hold the ball and try to beat them when you already down 20 points. No, sir. Son, when you get the ball, you go score. don't listen to him because he don't know what he's talking about right now. So yes, I did tell him that. But we're gonna switch gears a little bit, and I want to ask a question. We'll start with Pete right here. We'll start with Pete. I'll start with myself, then I'm gonna throw it to Pete because we are talking state of the program. What's one of the plays from this year, either good or bad, that kind of gave you, either a great feeling or a bad feeling about where our team was going? And I'll tell you mine. The play that I kind of looked at this year and kind of summed up how I feel about this team. And I said, all right, we in the right direction. We playing Pitt, and Kyron hits that first touchdown pass, I think, to Felton. And he starts walking down the field. And from what we've heard of Kyron, he don't celebrate much. He don't talk a lot of trash. He was talking shit to every Pitt player.
Everybody running down the field.
He said, "Motherfucker!"
I know he was telling them, keep your fucking eyes out of that backfield because you got to worry about this arm too. I know that's what he's saying on the way down that field. That was, if I had to sum up this year, one play, it would be that play, and not just the play because it's a great play, but afterwards, like I said, he hit the bow and arrow. Then he's going down the field and he's talking shit. And what's crazy to me is I'm thinking, like, he got to play against them the whole game. This is at the beginning of the game. He got to play against them linemen at the beginning of the game, and he talking shit all the way down the field.
Give me what you got. Give me what you got. I'm gonna bring this all day.
I'm looking at his body language, and I said, I know he looking at that lineman and looking at them cornerbacks and telling them, you better keep your fucking eyes out of that backfield because hey, we gonna add this bitch out on y'all. So that was my play from this year that I had to bring up. Pete, what you got for me?
If you remember the beginning of the Syracuse game, there was, for one, we were after them all game on defense. And there was a play where APR kind of did a spin move, got to the quarterback. I think it was the first play.
It was the second play. It was the second play of the game. Second play of the game.
Yep. And that play, I don't think he got credit for the sack. He might have on an intentional grounding, but it was a tone setter. And I remember thinking, like, the defense has been struggling this year, even against Pitt, how well we played and had the play you were just talking about. Offensively, we were good. We gave up some plays in that Pitt game. The Syracuse game was pure domination. And that play, just right off the bat to set that tone with that spin move, I was blown away. I was there, and I saw it from where I was sitting, and I was like, oh, this could be a different kind of night. And it ended up being a different kind of night. So that's the play I think back to.
That's why Brian decided to buy in poker that night in the basement. He won up $60 that night. It really was.
It was one of those nights like, all right, I will see how this plays out. I'm not sure if I will play tonight. And then that happened. I'm like, all right.
I'm in.
Deal me in, bitches. Let's go.
All right, Dan, we're going to go to Dan next. Dan, what play you got?
What's your play for the year that just set it off?
I'm going to give you a two-parter. The part that I knew it was going to be different was the last drive of the Purdue game, even though we lost. Kyron came in. You knew he had the vision. He was making plays. It was very clear quarterback one was number one, Kyron Jones. Then fast forward, UVA game. Anthony Calandria talking all that shit during the week. Remember 2019 bowl game? Lynn Bowden Jr. talked all that shit. Took our lunch money.
Took our lunch money.
We come UVA game. Anthony Calandria talking about, oh, they're gonna be talking about this. Well, yeah, they weren't talking about this, buddy. 55 reasons why you should shut the fuck up. Like they took that personally. APR was getting personal fouls. Like Kyron Jones was running it up. Like Bashal Tootin train was full steam ahead. Like we took that personally, and we said, nah, we're Virginia Tech. You're not gonna talk about us like that. And that's when I knew Virginia Tech was back or on the way to be back.
All right,
Robbie, what you got?
Robbie, what you got this year? What set it off, Virginia Tech?
I don't know if I'd go to one play more than I remember a particular kick return where they take back and score, and then afterwards talking to the young man about how he did something so amazing and returning that.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
Oh, damn.
No. Elon Musk. Come on, man. Elon Musk.
Damn it, Eli.
Is he? Oh man.
We'll get
Galen,
we'll get
come on, man.
Oh, there you
Oh,
go.
there he is.
There you go. Oh, shit.
The
Okay, there you
minute
go.
the minute that young man turns around and says, there was 10 other people on that field that made that thing work. That was when I knew it was different. That was that play that I knew. I didn't know it immediately, but you find out afterwards. That's where you know everything's going right. That's where
There we
things
go.
have changed.
11
you
guys
got?
playing for something else. That's what it's all
Right,
about.
right.
Dwight this year, man, play that said. I mean, we went 6-6. It ain't great, but
Nah,
where we were and where we've built back up to, and where we are in recruiting,
It's trajectory, right?
well,
5-3 the last 8 games.
I say
That's right. 5-3 last 8. That's right.
Yeah, 5-3 last 8 games. I think for me, I've been saying this for years. Virginia Tech and most college football, it's a combination of things. And the first thing I would say when Drones became the starter, I felt like early on, and I understand why Pride was doing it, because there's seasons when you sometimes need your backup quarterback, or even games where somebody's helmet comes off, cramping, whatever, or a shoulder injury or something. So I wasn't like dismiss Wells, but when I kept saying in Don V and Tally's Twitter spaces that when Pride names Drones a starter and it becomes his team, watch how he takes off.
Yep.
And I feel like if you look at UVA and other programs in the ACC, when you look at how long UVA has really been trying to rebuild and get back to the Marcus Hagans or Aaron Brooks days, you think about those two names I just named, right?
Yep.
That's how long I would even throw in Grow. The one thing I tell my boy Ahmad Hawkins, some of my UVA guys, is y'all have not really had a quarterback to build around. And after we lost Gerard Evans, I kept saying, yeah, we got nice quarterbacks. We need a quarterback. And finally, we have Drones, who my cousin and I think he is special. I've told him
Special.
that. I did. Now, here's the other thing I noticed to Tally's question. The culture and the mindset at home is very reminiscent of what Tech used to be. No more did you see at home where we were winning 20-17 and then we get a late field goal and we hold on with a defensive stand. Pride was running it up on people. They were throwing the ball 20 when they were up 21, 28 points.
Yep.
They were doing onside kicks, fake punts, trick plays. And I felt like there was a culture and a mindset, that showed that, okay, they're really trying to build something. And then finally, the last point I think to Tally's thing is the fact that, yeah, kids are leaving, but those kids should be leaving. The kids all coming back. The culture starting to take shape where, like Clemson, I said this on my pod this week, like Clemson, when they ran the ACC for years, Dabo was a master at keeping some of his future pros and even kids that could have left at graduation to come back for 1 or 2 more years, where you
Under
saw where
wraps.
Yep.
Tootin and everybody and Ali and all those guys are coming back. So now you're starting to see guys that want to be in Blacksburg, which means they're having fun and they feel like there's something that they can run it back with. So the coach is there, the quarterback's there. Again, I said this when I did the broadcast. I did the ESPN3 broadcast in 2013. And we had Motley at quarterback and we had the white kid. What's his name? The one, the other
Michael
one.
Brewer.
Michael Brewer.
Brewer.
And I thought Brewer was good, but I felt like we needed a dual threat quarterback. I just feel like other than Druckenmiller, Will Ferrell,
We do better with dual threats, man.
we do better with dual. If you
Always.
look at the history of Virginia
Always
Tech,
have.
if you want to do the history, historically, Virginia Tech was ahead of the game with dual threat quarterbacks.
93, 94.
Maurice
Yeah.
DeShazo.
Shazo, Alcott,
Maurice.
Marcus,
Maurice, Al,
Marcus,
Ryan
yes.
Randall.
Michael Tyrod.
I'm gonna tell you
Hell
the
yeah.
one thing that got me on the recruiting visit,
Yep.
and I'm not saying it because for race stuff, but
Nah.
I don't know another school that when you go in the quarterback room that's got 3 black quarterbacks on the wall.
Man, don't that
And
hit
when
different?
I walked in, I was like,
What?
they got Vic, Randall, and Taylor
And
on the
Tyrod
wall.
on there. Yeah.
And I'm like,
Taylor Logan.
that went
Maurice
a long way.
DeShazo's
I'm like, if
five.
you
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
a chance to
You
pop.
know, Me and B-Ran got a close connection, so
And
you
you
know,
ran. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I was like,
Hey, Tally,
that's
let me.
huge.
I'm gonna put you on the tally. I'm gonna bring it in. I'm gonna gotta wrangle all y'all in. Y'all, 'cause Chris, Kevin, y'all hold
Between,
on.
I'm gonna tell you, between that and Beamer sending us a video the next morning,
Oh shit!
and I was just like,
Beamer sent you a
oh,
video?
yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't know
Everybody
that.
Stop.
We
Hold
breaking
on.
some
Wait a
news
minute,
here?
wait a
We
minute.
breaking some news?
Kevin. Tebow gave y'all an offer, and Frank sent y'all a video
on our
Go
visit.
on.
We're on at 5 a.m. and we're
Yeah,
going,
yeah.
and it's funny because I know y'all probably don't know the inside joke, but
I
we
don't
get
know
a
the
deer going to Roanoke at
Oh
5 in the morning.
shit! That don't surprise me, but
That don't surprise me either.
Yeah, so we hit a deer on the exit, but when they got in the car, they're like, "Hey, you got a video? I want y'all to see." And Frank Beamer sent a video, and my wife's like, "Who is that?" I was like, "Because I'm from Texas." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Hey, it's like R.C. Slocum.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
like
right.
that's
Yeah.
like Bobby Bowden.
that's
Yeah.
up there for you.
That's huge.
You know,
And
Yeah.
you know.
he sent a video.
And
saying that
Dwight
he
Dwight
can't
could
wait
wax
to
some
do it.
poetic about what happened right there. So
That
we'll let Dwight ride after you finish.
Hey, that video, I'm telling you, between that and it was just the welcoming that and we hit it off with Ali's mom and just everybody like Felton. Like I sit in the stands and I got an NFHS account just to watch Jalen Lane's dad
Yeah.
on his playoff run to win the state championship.
Right.
That's dope.
And I'm texting
That's
him,
deep.
and then we meeting on
That's
family.
Saturdays, and
Family.
I'm sitting in front of
Culture.
Felton's dad. I can tell you this: Tootin's dad about knocked me over. We ended up hitting a kid at Boston College that was sitting in front of us, standing in front of us, is me and T-Rex, and he bumps me like, "Look at him." And I go like 3 trying to catch myself. And it hit. Oh, it was crazy. But I mean, that's just it's the fan, like, going to those games, and it's just where the program is right now. And I hadn't been around for 20 plus years, but it's different from
I
what
have.
we were at Baylor. And it's even though it's hard for me, it's hard for our family because I play on Friday night.
We want to win.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to win. Everybody wants to
Like,
win every damn
it's
We
week.
had a
long way.
game. I get home at 12 o'clock. I'm at the airport at 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Right.
And I fly into Charlotte and got to drive 2.5 hours to Blacksburg.
Hard for you, man. Hard for
So,
you.
but it makes it worth it. I'm on the first thing smoking Sunday out of there because I
Gotta
got to
get
get back
back.
at work Sunday.
Gotta get back.
I
Gotta
love
get back.
that.
So-
I love that, man.
But it's
All right,
worth
I'm
it.
gonna,
I love the dedication from y'all. I mean that's what I have so much respect for. Chris and Kevin both. I mean, what y'all bring to the table from being a dad, like that matters.
it
So I
matters so
appreciate
much.
that.
And
All right,
just from being a
Tyler?
friend.
Yeah.
All right,
Yes, sir.
Tally, this year, what was that moment?
I started it off. You've been drinking too much. I
Oh,
told you.
shit. Well, how about-
Damn it, Curtis.
Damn, Curtis.
You got
Let's go, Curtis. It's my
What
turn.
about right?
well, no, it's my turn 'cause I ain't talked yet.
All right, you talk, man. Go ahead. Run your mouth.
By the way, that's
There
how
you
much
go.
left his granddaddy.
Granddaddy, baby.
Going down.
You
That's
getting
what
it
He
in.
we're-
done turned
Brian
that to
is
the
kicking
side and
my ass.
everything.
I said it earlier.
Hey,
and
we
I'll
got
say it
Donnie,
again.
man. We got Donnie in here, man.
Oh
I
yeah.
know Dwight's in here. All right, this is what I'll say. It
He didn't say
is the
Dwight.
drive or the play after the fumble return. Kyron unfortunately gets popped. He loses the ball. It goes back. Instead of withering, instead of faltering, instead of running the ball and being safe and all that bullshit, 53-yard touchdown pass. Kyron to Jalen at the Pitt game. Extends the lead back to 14. Them
That was a big
motherfuckers
play.
ain't coming
I
back.
love drunk Curtis, man.
You ain't drunk enough
Feeling
tonight.
it right now.
I am
Old
no
drunken
because
Curtis.
that play.
Curtis said
No,
I didn't
stop.
drink enough ever tonight.
Sigla, Tally. That play happened. We fumbled the ball. One of y'all texted me. Oh fuck! This
We
shit
thought it was
again."
coming down. We thought it was.
We
over.
did. We all
Yeah, we
thought it was
Pete,
like.
Pete,
oh,
you're right.
fuck.
Pete, you're
we
right.
used to
We
it.
thought it
Oh
was.
my god, it's gonna happen again.
We're like, all right.
Again.
So we're so used to like being conditioned to like the bad
Losing.
turning into the worse, right? We're so
Yeah,
conditioned to
losing.
that.
It didn't.
We was
I
losing.
was
Didn't
lame.
turn
I
in.
couldn't text anybody.
It came old school. It came old school at Tech when something bad happened, something better happened. Kyron went into that situation with Jay Lane, went into it, 53-yard touchdown pass. We on a 14. Narduzzi didn't know what the fuck to do. He didn't because he knew his offense couldn't score.
Yeah,
It
they got a
buttoned
lucky
up.
shot on that play.
Narduzzi's a clown dick.
Yeah.
All right,
I'm glad we
all right, all
I'm
right.
glad we
Hold on.
chose
We
Christian
got to
over-
get to him because we have not.
Are we
went-
going to talk shit about Narduzzi? We're going to have like a 30-minute.
Yeah, because Christian Ballou or whatever.
Shit talk
Dan,
here.
be quiet.
Hold on.
Let me take
Hold
my
on.
moment. Let me
We
take my
have
moment.
Chris. We have Kevin. This year, Chris, your play this year.
Now you got to
saw
stay
what
at
was
Kevin.
just
You got to
like.
stay with Kevin.
Yeah, let Kevin
Go
do it.
Chris first. Kevin lead.
Okay.
Kevin ends it because Kevin's got a guy on the team.
It was three
That was
plays
great.
for me. It's three plays for me.
Go ahead.
First pass, Kyron gets in against Purdue, hits Daquan Wright up the seam. Bow. I was like, oh shit. I was like, oh snap.
Hey, can I say
said,
something
"Oh,
right quick,
snap."
Chris? Can I
Go
say
ahead.
something right quick just on that?
Yeah.
We were
Hey,
on the
when
damn
he
field for that.
when he got in
Right.
and he did that, I started texting people and said, "Y'all motherfuckers told me he couldn't pass the ball. Y'all told me this motherfucker couldn't throw. You son of a bitches." That's what I said. Now go
man,
ahead, Chris.
It's three plays. That one was number one. Second play is the look on his face when he lost to Florida State because he was 38 hot. I knew he was a super duper. He was competitive as hell. I said, oh, I love him. And here's the last one. The North Carolina State game, when the second half they let him let loose of the ball, I was like, hey, we ain't going no damn where else. There is no place else in the country I'm going because they're going to let this dude cut it loose. So it may have been like for us, it was the wins, but it's the way I watched him progress as a quarterback. And so that was the thing for me, to watch QB1 be that guy step. I know, I'm like, when I saw him last Saturday, I asked him what he was going to go do for the offseason. And he told me he was going to go work with Cam Ward, and Shadora. I was like, oh, shit. I was like, yeah.
Listen.
Hey, dude, I was so hyped. I was like, because I was so hyped. I was like,
I said, Chris, you were on there with me because a lot of times after games, win or loss, me and you were together.
Yep.
I said, once it becomes his team, Virginia Tech would do themselves a huge favor if they build and brand around him. I'm telling you, I don't miss. I called Eddie Royal.
I still got the text in my phone.
Dwight,
I still got the text in my phone from Dwight
so
when he
much truth,
texted me.
man.
Dwight said they still haven't endorsed him as QB1 for real. He said this kid is just out there playing. He said when they start really endorsing him, he's a star. Go ahead, Dwight.
And you saw, and the thing is
Kevin
that
go.
even if his dad wasn't on here, I've been saying it all year.
You
when he
have.
took over.
You have said
Here's
that.
the thing. Because of the way the game is played now with the RPOs, the mobility, he has, plus the fact is my son is a fan. He said, yo, my dude is so cool and calm and collected, but yet he can run up on it and push a defensive tackle from Wake Forest. He can get in your face. He has the marketability where Tech, now it's not just about, back when I played, it was Beamer ball, lunch bell.
Yep.
Now you have to market. Because if you market and brand a player, you're going to get more views. More kids are going to be like, yo, I want to do this. Case in point, there are people now that were babies, that were kids that still talk about the impact Tyrod and Mike Vick had on Virginia Tech. And Mike ain't played in years. You know what I'm saying?
Years.
Yeah, so
2 decades.
if you do this right with Drones, he can be that guy. I know I was on the island. And I wasn't anti-Wells on some like, oh, I hate. It was more so like he fit. And I remember Billy from Sons of Saturday was like, well, I don't think much will change if he becomes a quarterback. I said, yes, it will, because he will open up running lanes. That's what he would do, because the linebackers have to honor him on his own.
They have to honor him on his own read. And that game,
Dwight.
One-on-one
run game. You
and look at
spitting
Newton's
fucking
production
truth,
when
man.
he became the guy.
Billy catching strays no matter
I'm
what.
sorry. I'm sorry. But we talked about it on this program. We
did
talked
it.
about it on this program.
Right here.
man.
There were
Us
so
three
many
up top
times.
talked about it.
No,
Hey,
no
Kevin,
doubt
I'm gonna
about
be
that.
for real. Can we stop for one moment? QB1's dad, Kevin. When was it? What play? Whether you were in this stadium at Lane or I don't know if you made it to Rutgers
I was
or
there.
Marshall. When was it where you saw your son make a play one way or the other and said, "This is it. He's not losing this job. He is here."
I'm a couple of things.
Go
So
ahead.
I'll go back to the Pitt day.
Yep.
So me and my daughter go, and we go see him before the game, and it's Kern. Like I see, oh, he's back. Like this is him. This is
That Shadow
this
Creek
is
time.
2020 Shadow Creek. This is high school Kern. Like they've cut him loose for real because he's like, oh, I feel good. Gonna go up here, rest, whatever. And he stepped off that bus, and we're in that hokey walk. And he stepped off the bus, and he had those white Prada sunglasses on. And I looked at my daughter, and I said,
Oh yeah, yeah, he was on one.
And
He was
then
on
when
one.
He did the celebration. I was like, oh, he really feeling himself. Then he did the Jordan thing, and I was like, oh, he really feeling himself today. They had to let him get comfortable.
Yeah.
So my plays would be the back-to-back spikes, Bay Shoals spike.
Yep.
That he didn't get penalized on, and then Karen spike was free. So it would be
True.
those two. And the other moment was when they went to Boston College and took care of business like they did.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was
Because
big.
I felt like the team needed that. They need to understand we can go on the road and beat a team like it should be. Because before that, all I heard about was Castellanos and how it was,
Yeah.
Woods and that.
He was that
And
dude.
They went there as a team and put a beat down on Boston College. And I had a great time. This is my Cheers stuff right here. I went to Cheers and had a ball.
Oh yeah, I saw that picture. I saw that picture, dog. I saw that.
Yes,
picture.
I went to Cheers and had a ball at night. Had the best crab boil I've had. But I plan to do another one when I get to Maryland Christmas Eve. So I'll be there.
That's what's up.
I do like a good
so let me
Maryland
know what
crab
the
boil,
tailgates
man.
are, by the way. I'll be there. But yeah, that's my 3 months. The
That's your
back-to-back
3 months.
spikes.
You got to come out with me in Annapolis. I'll be there.
Hey, hit me up.
Curtis gonna be there too.
Hit me up. Game.
Kevin, I'm driving in that morning, so I'll hit you up. Dwight,
there
I'm gonna hit
Tuesday
you
night.
up.
Yeah.
Dan, when are you gonna be in?
Let's hook up.
I'll get in Tuesday afternoon.
All right, I'm gonna be in Wednesday morning. Listen, this, as always, the state of the program is one of our funnest episodes. All of y'all. We lost Jeremy, unfortunately.
Give a shout
know
out
what?
to Jeremy. Yeah, man,
Shout
give
out
a
to Jeremy.
I love
Jeremy,
Jeremy.
man.
Yeah, I don't know.
I gotta show you
And
something.
Jeremy pays the bills here around
Yes.
these parts,
Oh,
so
Hold on.
he always got to shout out
Look
Jeremy.
Sally, I gotta show you something, Sally.
at that. Look at that.
You know we gotta
Oh,
know.
bring it up.
You know we
Oh, there
gotta-
it is. There it is.
Hey, I still think mine look better. I still gotta say mine look better though.
I love it. I love
Hey,
that
my
they
wife wanted me to
drop
show
over.
y'all these. So this is the bowl prep. This is what we're doing for the bowl.
Okay, y'all
Oh,
showing
shit.
out now.
Okay,
Oh
okay.
shit!
Love it.
Yeah.
Oh, hey Kim, I need that
Oh,
orange.
The
man.
whole
Oh,
thing.
Nah, yeah.
Hey, man,
Tell your wife
I
you
know
did me wrong.
Hey,
Yeah,
Kevin
your
just
wife
flexing
did me
on us
dirty.
right now. Kevin
That's my
flexing on
favorite.
Yeah,
us.
your wife did me
Okay,
dirty.
That
okay.
orange, man.
Okay.
Yeah,
I gotta
your
say,
wife
that
did me
Kevin
dirty.
said,
with
"I
the
got
orange."
everything here, man. Let's do
Hey,
this."
Kim,
Yeah. So
Kim,
I just
I
wanted
need
to
that
show-
orange.
I've got to say,
So I hit you up. Whatever I need to do, I got it.
Chris
Yeah.
gonna handle it. Chris gonna handle it.
Yeah.
Listen, we do this every year. The state of the program means a lot, and what the state of the program says for us is where we are. A year ago, this wasn't a fun episode. We were 3-8. 3-8. It kicked us in the goddamn fucking nuts, and it was just like in our lifetime between me, Sigla, Tally, Jeremy's drunk ass ain't here. We've never seen 3 wins as a program. We've never seen that. Because we go back to the mid 90s where it was Sugar Bowls, Gator Bowls, Peach Bowls, Orange Bowls, all the good stuff. And we sit here and we're like, what is this? What happened? And then this year happened and we saw it transform.
Yep.
We saw a transformation. Robbie telling us that Drones kids is different.
He said
Dan
it.
interviewing, Pete talking about it. Tally talking.
I mean,
about
all of
it.
us looking at film, man. Like all of us talking about film, like we're like, when we
If
look at this team, it's different. It's
It's
different
different.
with this kid as the starting quarterback.
And then it
Yeah,
happened.
real
week,
ball watchers know.
And
Yeah,
then week 3 it
absolutely, Dan.
happens.
Dan's right.
And then week 3 it happens. And then those 2 weeks of like confirmation, it's like moving around, hits. And then 5-3 the rest of the season.
Hey, fellas, I don't mean to cut across, but I really want you to. It really happened before then, because us as men, it's hard for us to admit when we're wrong.
Yeah.
So when Pry comes out and says, you know what, I need to be a better head coach. Hey, I need to turn this over to Marv. And let them take their bumps and bruises along the way
Respect.
to get to that point.
Yeah.
That's what really changed it. Getting talent, because I cannot tell you the number of times he called my house and said, listen, don't give up on us. If we can sneak you in and put an unknown number on you and let you go run down the field, kid, we'll do it, because we ain't got the talent. But for him to understand, I need to learn this and I got to get better at that. This coaching staff understood they needed to get certain people. And for them to go in the portal, I mean, we watch it every day.
Yep.
Shout out to Kobe, man, who put the Twitter feed up about the portal stuff.
Yeah, respect to Kobe. Kobe has been crushing it, man.
Yeah, he out there doing God's work. They shot out for 30 people. They gonna end up getting maybe 4. I know they got 2 more guys coming in. I already know.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we know. We know.
We talked about it. We talked. We're not breaking news here, but we talked about it.
We talked about it. But the thing about it is that they go out and target certain cats. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, before they shot a offer to a kid out from Baylor, I ain't know who Kyron Jones was. I ain't had no clue who he was. But they do research and they dig it out. So man, shout out to this coaching staff changing this thing, man. And it's never the guy who follows the legend that's great. It's the guy that follows the guy that followed the legend.
Chris.
Go ahead.
Ooh.
You right. No, look.
Am I right?
Because I said at the end of the day, I might have been again when Twitter Spaces with you. I said one thing Pride will need to do, and Beamer had his, and other coaches across the country had that. I said he's got to get his Mount Rushmore.
He's got to get his Mount Rushmore.
When I said that, I said,
yeah, you did,
Dwight.
man. Yeah.
Dwight.
I said he could be the first of the Mount Rushmore, because for Beamer, it was Mike, it was Cornell Brown, Maurice DeShazo, it was also Kevin Jones. So you look
Corey
at that.
Moore,
Yeah, so you look at Kyron Jones, he could be the first of the Mount Rushmore.
Absolutely.
We talked about that on this program, man. We talked about
all the
who's
time.
going to be the Corey Moore of this fucking Pride regime.
Well, and
right?
look, to tell you how important it is, Syracuse, I'm going back to my original point. Syracuse missed on my cousin. Donovan McNabb always says, who got? I said, I got him, Donovan McNabb. I beat you twice, right? So here's the thing. Syracuse never recovered from that.
Yep.
They never recovered. They got
No.
Troy. They had a guy named Troy Nunes. And then after that, they went through a shitload of quarterbacks. They never recovered from not getting Mike. Look at UVA, look at other schools who never really gotten that guy. Tech has been very fortunate. Gerard Evans, and then we went through some tough years, and then you get
it was up and down.
You got to hit. You got to hit. And we hit on Mike. We hit on Brian Randall. We hit on Tyrod. And listen, Tyrod was a 5-star, but you still got to hit on him. And we did. And it's funny when we were talking about when we'll know we're back. That is a very difficult question. Some people think we might have already seen that moment, maybe at the UVA game or earlier in the year. But do you remember back in the 90s and they're trying to define pornography, right? And it's a very hard thing to define.
You know it when you see it, baby.
You know it when you see it. And I think when we are back, we will all know it when we see it. And we might, and some of us might have already seen it in that 55-point performance, but I think it's still to come, and we will know when we see it.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think the know it, see it point, and I'm gonna just call it as it is. Clemson come to town, we whip Clemson ass. That's when it's gonna be full fledged.
Hey, can I talk my shit for a second?
Talk your shit. Talk your shit,
You
man.
with me, coach? You with me, coach?
So-
You go.
So last year,
yeah.
last year we were 3-8, right?
Yeah.
I've been joking
No,
recently.
2 years ago we were 3-8, 60.
Yeah. I've been joking recently that I love Pride before it was cool.
Yeah, that's fair.
There were a few of us that we never wavered, and we went 3-8, and then there was a game last year that 2023 class put out a video, said help us on the way, we're coming. Everybody was like, what the fuck, this is some bullshit. Everybody's at 85, like, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of
Everybody
people,
said it was Dickie.
yeah,
Everybody said it was Dickie.
Dick Ryder. A lot of these dudes, you know, like they made an impact this year.
Yeah.
And then you bring in a guy like Kyron, who ends up being him, and now we have a quarterback that everybody from the coaching staff to the fan base is absolutely united behind for the first time since Tyrod and Logan. So the future for me, I mean, we just plugged a lot of gaps with Peoples, Copeland, maybe a couple more. We got Brumfield coming in to play the mic. Like, for us to not be very, very excited for the future would be crazy. Like, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Yeah.
The hopium, inject me, baby. Like, let's go.
Hey, yo, real quick, Curtis, I know you got to wrap up, but look, shout out to the fans, because I'm going to tell y'all something. After the Military Bowl, I sat with my family. It was 20 of us. I sat in that rainstorm. I was soaked. We had a chance to win the game. We call it timeout. We're on the 2-inch yard line. Ryan Willis goes on the center, which I'm happy about. We fumbled the ball. This is after we got a turnover. Cincinnati was a 10 or 11 win team that year. 10 wins team.
Yeah, they were.
Right? We if we go and score, we go up 2 scores and we win that game. After that game, I vowed I would never go back to a Tech game until something changed with the coach.
Wow.
I had not been to Blacksburg. I stopped going to the spring game.
He said this on our program, everybody.
You used to
I said
call
that.
the
This is
spring
not
game.
bullshit.
You called the spring game, Dwight. That was your thing.
I called it, but I was mad. It wasn't about alumni and how we were treated. I was mad because if you ever build something or you're part of something that's bigger than yourself, it is emotional for me. So I'm not that guy. Like, I look at these guys now that's playing, Caleb Woods, all these young guys. I'm happy. I was happy when Dwayne Brown and Anthony Davis was killing it. Why I tell it, it's not about me. It's about the program. So I was to the point where it wasn't my feelings was hurt. My love for what I helped build was hurt. Like,
show me what I'm used to.
Yeah. So like, and then I kept seeing guys on Twitter, not the new guys there now, but yo, stick with us. And then the next thing I know, they leaving the program, and I'm talking to guys, and that's when Don V gave me the scoop on what was going on. So Hokie Nation, though, they have never wavered. They keep coming back. They're a big reason why our brand is still reputable, because they keep showing up at 11:30 kickoffs Thursday night. Now you're giving them a product. Watch, and for those going, watch how crazy the Military Bowl gonna look this next week.
We're selling out.
Yeah, man.
We're sold out all those games after a 3-win season, right?
Yeah.
5 of the 6 sellouts.
And think about Blacksburg and how hard it is to get to. And I always say this to my friends, like, we don't get down there that much because it's hard to get to. But when you get there, it is special.
It's
and
magical.
you have to
It's
earn your way to get you got to sit on 81 all the way down to get there. But once you get there, it's special. And that creates a different kind of environment that only the people that go know about. And I'm with Dwight. You know it when you see it, when you make it, but you can also know it when you see it when it stinks. And I think a lot of us knew something was fishy. And fortunately, we're not there anymore. And it feels good to be on the other side. I sat in that rainstorm too, Dwight. It was not fun.
Man, listen, hey, the Kentucky game, I was like, yo, I'm not even one of them guys. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I don't
Dwight
know
said the
that.
Kentucky game. That's man.
Yo, for real, we should that game should have been an all-out brawl, dog. Because I know how we handled things back in the day. Now, what killed me was, okay, we lose the game, we were in complete control. Then your boy come to the podium. They were like, sorry about the loss, coach. He said, nobody died. What are y'all talking? I was like, bro.
What?
Bro, no.
Were you the one that
Also, there should have been a fucking absolute scrap on the sideline after that Lynn Bowden shit.
Well, he
Like,
should never.
that should have escalated to uncontrollable levels. And
There
he
should
did.
have been offensive linemen and defensive linemen breaking Lynn Bowden.
I would have broke somebody's fucking arm off.
No, Ziegler.
Just being real.
How like Lynn Bowden size got in your face, you would have fucking destroyed him.
Yeah.
That was the shit back then. It is not now because we have turned a corner in the program of the culture. We're back where we were. It sounds funny, right? We're back where we were.
In terms of the chemistry, not all the
Right.
way with the
No, no,
talent.
no.
There you
No,
go.
of the
Chemistry.
culture.
I'm gonna say something. Dwight
Sally
told me.
Ride,
Dwight
man.
said something. Yeah, Dwight said something to me, man. I guess it may have been last year, or this year at the beginning of the season. He said, I think everybody was kind of arguing about who was gonna coach what, or what quarterback coach we were gonna get, or what coach we was gonna bring in. And Dwight was like, "It don't matter what coach we bring in. I mean, you got your head coach. We got to get talent. We need talent. That's what we
Holy
need.
shit.
It don't matter who. It don't matter who's coaching the kids if you don't have talent. So fast forward. I mean, great kids from last year, last year's team. But when you go into this offseason, like Pete said, I'm not saying that we're back, but going into this next season, we're going to bring some camera crews in because we got star power. Like if you look at Allie Jennings, and that game that he played, how many people he had at that game, like the ACC network was eating that up because he has talent. But they like, look how many people he's got here, and he's a good talker. And then when you see Kyron, he get on and he starts. You got to have some of that. You're gonna have some kids on the All ACC watch list before the game. You're gonna have some kids maybe on the All American. We had some All American. Dorian Strong was an All American. Like you got fresh recruits, hot. Yeah, you got high profile recruits coming in. You've got something that a camera crew is gonna want to come in and talk about and gonna want to film, and it's just not gonna be manufactured hype. It's gonna be actual hype. What we do with it, we'll see. But I remember when they used to go cover David Wilson and say, "Hey, look at his car. He had the old school car." I remember on ESPN, and they would follow him around and talk about what he was doing. We haven't.
He had like a 2001 Camry or some shit, but that was like fucking.
You got to think, man. Like next year, we have stars that people are going to want to know about. They're going to want to know about Kyron Jones. They're going to want to know about Bashal Tootin. They're going to want to know about Quan Felton. They're going to want to know about Allie Jennings. They're going to want to know about
APR.
The list goes
APR.
on
And, you know,
they want to know about white chocolate, Curtis.
So
they want to know about white chocolate.
So
they're definitely going to want to know about Stephen Goddell.
So I go back.
Friend of the
So I
Terror.
go back to my So I go back to my original statement. You know, like kind of what Pete's saying. We'll know when we see it, but we're gonna have all the tools to get there because you're gonna see a lot of media covering these kids.
I got a prediction, but I'm waiting until September, August. I'm not gonna say it now. I feel it in my secret. I feel it, and I don't miss. I don't miss when I make these predictions.
I think he texted me before. I'm
not gonna say it. I'm gonna wait. Because
He's not gonna make it public, but he knows what he's talking about.
Hold on, wait a second.
Hold
on, wait a second. We know Dwight will be back on in April, or excuse me, August of next year to make all his predictions when we go.
March, April, it's always a Dwight episode, man.
Hey, look,
we always
man,
have Dwight on in March, April every year.
Drones, I'm not, like I said, his dad could be in Afghanistan right now. I'm not saying it because he's on this joint, right?
We know that.
I know what I see, bro. I don't miss. I told everybody about Strowman. Nobody believed me. I told people about David Wilson and Eddie Royal before they got there. I told people about my cousin, the guy that writes for the Collegiate Times in 1998. I said, this is an article. I'll post it. I think I did before. I said he will change the program. He'll take us to the national championship. He'll be up for the Heisman. I said all the things he did is read. And the guy told me after I walked away, he said, "Yo, I thought you was on that shit."
He said he told you if it wasn't Ronald Curry, it didn't matter.
Yeah, because
that's what he told you.
It all happened. And
if it wasn't Ronald Curry, it didn't matter.
When my cousin got out of jail, I said, "Oh, he gonna be up for the MVP. Man, they're gonna put him at receiver, punt returner." Next thing you know, he finished behind Tom Brady, and he won the division.
And he
when I know something, I'm telling y'all, watch what Drone
Michael Vick was running scout team, and Bud Foster said in a coaches meeting, he said, Frank, either we are the worst tackling team in the nation or that kid is special. And Frank said, and Frank said, we are a great tackling team, and that kid is special.
1998 was a great tackling team, and that wraps up this episode. 3 hours, 6 minutes.
Wow.
Chris, Kevin, Tally, PB, Dan, Dwight, Jeremy, Robbie, everybody that joined us tonight.
Curtis, special shout out to my Kiki crew.
Go ahead.
They've been in the chat room all day.
Oh,
they killing me on my phone.
I've been seeing them.
Everybody that you bringing along for the ride,
crew.
I
That's my
appreciate
road
that.
Dogs. They gonna ride or die with me wherever I go. So
love it.
I told y'all, all black people are keying. I am part of the Drone family.
You know what?
Going to the game.
I love that shit.
No doubt.
Hey, I'm letting y'all
Hey,
know
can I
right
be a
now,
part of the Drones family?
You ain't black. You don't have to do some
Can I be like the
work.
white third cousin?
Chris, I gotta find Dwight. I gotta find Big Drink. I gotta find Dan. I gotta find P at the damn military bowl.
I need a Kevin Drones Terradome episode.
Come on. Let's
do it.
Let's ride.
Listen,
Dan,
you know, this is
the
what
white
this
guy
episode
got
is for.
sick the week he was supposed to do y'all show, and he was so locked in on trying to get to the bowl that he said he was gonna reach back out after they finished.
Yeah.
But he still wants to do y'all show.
That's what's up.
Listen,
I'll take both KDs.
We'll hit up KD in February when he's a month into hardcore training. But listen, it's been 3 hours, 7 minutes. It's been awesome. This is what this episode's supposed
There's so
to be.
much more to say.
We have been
Exactly. Pete, you know what we're talking about right now.
I've been trying to
Did we
recruit
get through
Pete.
any of
I've
the
been trying to recruit Pete to BCP. So, hey, I'm just telling you.
Pete grew a good team.
season, man. Pete was dropping some fire monologues.
I love Pete, man. Pete,
Yeah.
he knows what he's fucking talking about.
Pete go hard and think.
Can I say one more thing before we sign off real quick?
Yeah, you
when,
can
when,
go
when
ahead.
Clemson's dynasty started, right?
Yep.
It started with a quarterback in Taj Boyd, and it started
Sammy
with
Watkins.
a wide receiver, in
A
Sammy
Virginia
Watkins.
quarterback.
And we got two fathers here. We got a quarterback's father. We got a wide receiver's father. And you know what else all fell into place after that? The lines came together and everything. That's where things start. They start on the outside and they come to the inside. And that's what we got coming back for next year.
Hey,
And
I'm telling y'all this, man. Be
I
speaking.
can see it building already, and I'm just pumped, and I'm so happy to be here with all you.
He's trying to hold it because see, he keeps on saying, "Hey, when we know it, when we see it, we'll know it." This motherfucker,
It's
listen, behind
happening.
the
He
scenes,
said
I'm telling
what he's
you,
saying is it's
he's
happening
feeling
right
it.
now.
He's
That's
feeling
what
it
he's saying
because,
is
listen,
happening
I'm
right
telling
now.
you,
It's not
listen,
just
if
the
y'all-
beers. It's not
if
just the
you
beers
knew-
talking.
Hey, if you're new to this program, I want you to go back. I want you to plug all of our shit. We've had Pry on. Pry is a very candid coach. He's gonna tell you the truth. He's gonna be real with you. We've talked.
Right.
We've had the white on before the season. I've fought. I'm talking about plenty of motherfuckers on Twitter talking about what this team was gonna do. I said we gonna get to a motherfucking bowl game. I'm telling you. I don't care what I got to do. We get into a bowl game, and guess what?
Tally
motherfuckers?
said we
had
could do a bowl
game.
in spring
We
of
had a
last year,
motherfucking
man.
bowl game.
Callie,
Everybody was looking at me crazy.
Let's go back to the episode before the season.
Yeah, let's check the tape.
Let's the three
You
of
have
us
it?
said it. PB said we're gonna get to a bowl. A lot of us said we're gonna get to a bowl. We got to a bowl this year. I didn't see it. I didn't.
Dan
If
said
you
it.
would have told me a year from now we here, I didn't believe it. But we got here. We got here.
We in
We're
this
in
motherfucker.
Annapolis. We should maybe be somewhere else, but let's not get into all that. Because
I love drunk
That motherfucker feeling good
Curtis
right
is my
now.
favorite.
Oh, you about to go get another bottle.
I love
That
drunk
motherfucker
Curtis,
feeling
man.
good right now.
Hey, Chris. Brian and Robbie have dealt with drunk Curtis for 20 plus years. Man. More than a
I
few
guarantee you.
times.
You know what?
What the future
We've been
they
here.
got
We
me-
done that. We bought the T-shirt, man.
Bought the
We
t-shirt.
took
Y'all
his
carried
ass to
my
fucking
out
Beach
Cam
Week, man.
Stadium
The man opens a second bottle. We ain't making it another 3 hours. I guarantee it.
Oh, no, it's over with. It's over with.
Hey, but
I'm telling you, man. Hey, this what I want to say too. This what I want to say too. I don't know who's already making preparations. I know Chris is. I don't know who else is, but Nashville next year, I need everybody to be there.
I'm already in. We already in.
Hey, I see in the comments y'all already saying it's gonna be the Kick It crew. We can name it whatever y'all want to. I'm telling you, it's 2 hours away from my house. If somebody don't got nowhere to stay, give me a call. You can come stay with me because I need us to work out Nashville.
Hey, I'll put my head down where you live. I'll put my head down where you live.
Tell your white cousin might
country music in Nashville. I need us in there playing some rap music. I need us in there.
We're gonna bring the screw. You're gonna bring that screw to Nashville.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
Hell yeah,
man. You know,
I hear you, Kevin.
Katie was sitting.
I'm still tipping all the way to Nashville next year. I need us to be up in there. I need us to bust somebody's ass.
All right. So
we
the
locked
goal
in.
is everybody in this room tonight.
Everybody on this whole. Everybody on this
Vanderbilt screaming as loud and proud, and we say, "Let's go!"
Hokies! Yes, sir.
God,
Nashville gonna be a motion picture.
It just hit. Listen, this was awesome tonight. State of the program is good. The state of the program right now feels great because if you feel the energy coming from this room right now, we feel it. Kyron, the quarterback.
Hey, Kevin, who was that? Callus Nose? Who is that?
That's my boy. So
okay. Dude, I gotta meet him.
He been rolling deep, man. I love that. He been putting comments in there. I love it the whole time.
Mario, and Andrew Callis, they go with me to the Florida State Clemson game. We fly. I'm up all night. We fly to Atlanta. They don't have any rental cars. It's the week after the big flood in Atlanta. No rental car. So I'm off the ship. So I missed the Old Dominion game because I get on the planes on the tarmac, and we 3-4 hour delay. I'm like, I'm not missing kickoff. I'll just go back home. I've already missed the Hokie Walk. I still got to get to Charlotte, drive 2.5 hours. I'm gonna miss everything. Let me off the plane. So all of that has happened. We get to Atlanta, and then this happens. So I'm like, I'm finna miss it. So both games are kicked off. So we go to a bar. Like I'm outside. Callis tells me we get an Uber to the bar. We go to the sports bar, and I got both games. I got the Florida State game on. I got the Marshall game on. Karen scores right away. So people in there going crazy. Hey, high fiving. My boy Mario pulls up in a truck. He's like, meet me outside. I be damned. We ain't come out this way, and we ain't watching no game in the goddamn bar. So we drive all the way to Clemson. We get to Clemson at the end of the fourth quarter. I'm literally there just for the overtime. I get to see my son going on the bus. I've watched the game on my damn phone, Karen's game on the phone as I'm trying to get in the stadium.
Wow.
See the end of the game. They win. Get on the bus. We drive back to Atlanta, go to the cigar bar, have a great time. Miss our flight the next morning. We had too good of a time. Gotta get another flight. Those my ride or die dudes. That's the Kick It crew.
I love that.
I told them I was gonna be on
here. We're gonna have a good time.
So they like, oh, we drunk with y'all. We need to be on the show. We drunk.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
So they've been drinking with us the whole time.
That's all
good.
Well, the Kick It crew is formally invited to the tailgate at the Military Bowl, so
and they will be they will be in the building.
Slide.
Well, y'all make sure y'all pull a little lookout for your boy. I'll be. I don't know how I'm gonna work that day. I'm just awful. I'm
Chris, it's a Wednesday. Chris,
nobody getting their packages.
Take it back. Chris the other day was on Tally Space slinging shit.
Spitting truth.
Man.
Oh my God. Chris, holy shit. You were fucking testifying, man.
Dude.
Listen, man, I it's just to me, and I know y'all are in it, but that was just such a big time for us and guys going what we're trying to do and the direction we're trying to grow in. I get mad when I see so many kids in so many different situations. You know, like I said, that big thing when and I love Dre Bryant as a guy, as a man, but when he came and raped my state in 2022, like
I feel you.
I'll say this personally. I was talking to my wife the other day, and Tayon Holloway came to me. He played with Keelan at Green Run, and he wanted to decommit from North Carolina.
He shouldn't have went there.
And he said to me, I don't know if I should go. And I was like, well, why don't you want to go? He's like, well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to fit there. Now, unbeknownst to anybody else, he was hurt. He had a bad shoulder. So he took that year to get his shoulder right and be able to play. So now he took that year, got his body right, learned some different things, and now he's going to Louisville. And that's fine for me because I want him to go and get done what he needed to get done. But I told him at that point, don't decommit. I said, if you decommit now and they find out you're hurt, you're going to drop down. You're not going to get the same training table as going to the next thing. And so I think like Coach, like Kevin does, you take pride in trying to make sure these kids make the right decisions. But when you know on the back end that certain things are a certain kind of way, it pisses you off. So I just say here right now, and it's taped, it's recording. I'm always going to have a certain kind of feeling about Chris Cole not staying and going to Virginia Tech. I'm always going to feel that because I know the guy who helped put that together. It always pisses me off because he did that.
Right.
Yeah.
I will say that. And if anybody ever want to know the backstory to it, I take pride. Yeah, I take pride in any family that asks me anything about this recruiting thing. I will tell them exactly what they need to do. But I think, Kevin, I know you probably have it too. Like people, and you got 2 kids. Shout out to Kevin because he got a son that graduated.
You got 2 in the portal too.
Yeah, 2 in the portal.
He got a daughter in college too.
Yeah, your daughter in college too.
She's about to be not in college.
Yeah, right.
About to be.
We got some. We
got some things. I know. Yeah. Y'all got some stuff, right?
We're just trying to get the 0 on the fee receipt. That's all.
There you go. That's all. I think what ends up happening, and Kevin can attest to this. People will look at you and say, "Oh, your kid is at this point because of this, that, and the third." And a lot of times, nobody gives you any guidance in this. You're like blind in this. So people will tell you certain stuff, and it's not true. And then when you get your kid to a certain point, they just think, oh, they just gave this all to you. No, nobody gave us shit.
Tell you how it is.
Yeah. Can I say something?
Let it ride, Kevin.
Kevin, can I say something real quick?
Go ahead.
Kevin, to have 2 kids at the collegiate football level, another kid at the level of college sports, that is impressive, man. Bow to you because 3 kids.
3 Division I athletes, bro, in his own house.
Division I athletes. Oh my God!
Have
them 2 at football that are doing things at programs.
I mean, football in general. Having 2 at football in general is ridiculous.
Have another one,
ridiculous.
Having another one there doing great stuff.
My wife is up there saying his mama.
Exactly. Respect to her. She's right. No disrespect to you, Kevin, but she's right.
She's right. That's right. They can wait.
I will tell you this, like, I want to put this out there because I know parents are out there watching.
Right.
Like this NIL stuff. We had a crash course in January.
Yeah.
Baylor didn't do it, and UTEP didn't do it.
Right.
Didn't know what it was. All we knew was what we Googled or what we had seen on Twitter or what we had seen on internet. And that first conversation threw us off. Like, I'm glad we wasn't on Zoom because he would have looked
you
at
weren't
us
ready. Yeah,
like,
I get that.
Oh, they don't understand because if we didn't, we don't know what it is.
Right.
And I want these kids to understand. I tell all our kids, I'm in the Houston area, and I tell these kids, I'm still close to those Shadow Creek guys. I went to one of their signings the other day. One of my D linemen signed with University of Houston. And I'm like, hey, when it comes to this NIL, you need to understand, you need to think about taxes. Don't think about just the number. Don't take all the low-hanging fruit that just want to pay you for a deal because every deal is not a good deal for your brand. So do some homework behind it and have a budget.
That's so funny you said that. I was just thinking about the tax thing today. Like
the
that
tax
is
thing. When
it's
we
a
went,
huge
I had
thing.
to go talk. I called my tax lady when Kyron committed to Virginia Tech. Texas don't have state tax.
Ain't got no state tax.
Virginia got state tax. I was
Show
like, I
them
don't know
do.
what it is.
Show them do. Yeah.
So I had to call my accountant. Hey, do you handle like?
Yeah,
can
tell
you
me
handle
what this.
Virginia
Tell me what
state
this
tax?
impacts us at.
Oh
Can
my
you
God!
do that? Can you like and then she had to give us some guidance on. Okay, you got to do this, this, and this.
Right.
But I know a lot of kids don't have that in their head. Like I have Karen, like, look, you got to think about this before you purchase this. Understanding needs versus wants. Doing that and making them accountable. Like, okay, if you want this, yes, you earn some of this stuff.
Right.
I'm gonna make you pay it back. You want it earlier, then you got to pay it back just because you're on a budget.
Yep.
So if you want it early, yeah, we can pay for it, but then you're gonna pay for it the next couple of months.
There's gonna be
Next
something
couple of
on the
paychecks,
back
you
end.
get it. You got to pay it back. So I need you to understand at 19 and 20 how money works.
Yep.
And get and talk to a financial planner. I was on the phone yesterday with Goldman and Sachs. You got to have a financial planner. Like I need you to understand how money works. And I don't want you to squander the opportunities that you have. When I left him at Virginia Tech, and I told both of them, because Jeremiah turned down more money to go to Miami than to get Florida State. And I said, look,
good for that.
I said, hey, you chose this. I said, and God has blessed you with opportunity, and He's paved the way for you to only think about school and football. Don't squander it away. The best thing, Karen got MVP at the team banquet or whatever.
Yep.
But when he sent me his I say report card, old school, they don't do report
Right.
Text me the report card the other day.
I know what you mean.
They were laughing because I had a moment because he had a 4.0. He had all that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, that's better than the MVP because you went to a whole new state. You went on the East Coast. You played. You went through all this stuff. And you went 15 hours and got a 4.0. You made the Dean's List.
Hey, you know what's crazy too?
Kevin.
Whoa, Kevin, he made the Dean's
Nah,
List.
we gonna celebrate that shit.
Yeah. No, everybody clap that up.
So,
hey, you know what's crazy too? Though?
All Big 12. And when he left, I said, understand, like that doesn't change. I just expect you to be all academic ACC. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, make it happen. So he's laughing. You know, because that's how he is. He said, you told me to make all academic ACC. I just went on and made the Dean's List for you. I'm like, that's
what you're supposed to do.
I'm in the part of the military bowl.
You know what's crazy too? If you go look at Sam Brumfield when they was talking to him when he was committing, they was asking him, you know, what made you think Virginia Tech? And he kept saying, I'm thinking about life after football. And I think he was a 4.0 kid
Holy
too.
shit.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
When you that's crazy because when you have leaders in your program that think about stuff like that, it does matter on the field, but stuff like that matters as well. So when you get high level character kids like that, your program's going in the right direction. So that's awesome, man. That's awesome to hear. I didn't even know that.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah. That's amazing,
dope.
Kevin.
That is so dope. God.
Hey, Mama Drones.
Graduated. I got to put him out there too. Jeremiah graduated from Florida State.
Yeah, he did. I saw that.
Hell
Man.
yeah.
Congrats
he
to
did.
that, man.
Congratulations, Jeremiah, too.
Shout out Jeremiah.
Yeah, I told Kyron that when I saw him. I said, yo, man, shout out to your brother graduating. He looked at me. He was like, hey, go, dude. You're all over the place. I say, dude, that's huge. I don't care what you say.
It's big.
I don't care what you
that
that's huge.
Hey, he was getting a lot of in-season shout-outs too, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
He was.
I appreciate Jeremiah was getting a lot of fucking accolades, and that was amazing. I love that.
Yeah.
Kyron
We
told me,
got to give Mama Drones her flowers so she don't jump on
man.
me.
Mama
Drones.
She played-
She the boss.
Hey.
She the boss,
Mama
man.
Drones
Played
played
college softball.
college
She over here
sport.
skinning
Yes,
grinning
sir.
right now. She over here skinning
Hey,
grinning.
we got to give her.
Softball, baby.
Hey, she done
man.
pumped out some beats, so we got to say
Yeah.
a shout out to Mama Drones.
Yeah, man.
2 for 2, man.
Virginia Tech fans love
for
themselves
three,
some
right?
softball, so we're in on that.
We are.
Hey, man, it's something.
Listen,
That's
listen.
right.
I'm gonna say something. Yep, I'm wasted.
Curtis, no shit. Welcome.
Go ahead, Curtis. Go ahead, drunk
I've
Curtis.
been quiet for a
Hey,
while.
hey.
Y'all trying to
Let-
call my ass out, act like
Well, now let's laugh because this time last year
Curtis
I was
tried to
like a
stop the
fifth
show.
of Evan White Label into
you
this.
plastered.
Oh,
Yeah, I was
love
done.
that.
Jeremy's
I was
already
done.
passed
Evan- I
out.
keep
Listen,
Evan
listen.
Williams
I've had
white
a
label
great
behind
time
me.
tonight.
Keep
We
it.
have went 3 hours, 25 minutes.
Nobody's gonna listen to this whole thing. But I
Yes,
hope
they
they
will.
will.
You know what?
They will,
Cause
Chris.
It's okay.
Okay, man.
Chris,
That's
believe
okay.
it-
Nation will.
Chris, believe it or not, we have over,
Like Kevin said, we're gonna chop
we
it and
have over
screw.
50 people that have not turned off tonight.
That's dope, man. That's fine.
Hey.
That's fine.
Crazy.
We got 50 heads that have been hanging with us the whole time.
That's
You know,
what's
There's
up.
star power on this.
Hey.
That's
There's
different.
Star
That's
power
different.
in this bitch. We got
But
star
last
power.
year we went less than this. Yep, I'm feeling good. Chris, you have dumped 2 of those tequilas down since I've been
Yeah,
here.
yeah. I'm
Kevin
about
over
to.
here
Hey,
chugging.
if we go again, I might have to finish this bottle off. So I'm gonna let y'all
Kevin
know.
feeling good on the
You
knob.
know,
Look,
I'm
Kevin.
good. Yeah, see what I'm
Hey,
saying?
Kevin flexing a little
Look-
bit. I like
He
that.
is
I like
flexing.
Kevin flexing.
He is flexing. Kevin,
Yeah.
Brian, let me see what you done. How much damage?
I put away all the Donnies, man. I put away all the Donnies.
Some 16s. Tally. Let me see what you done.
Hold on for a minute
I
here.
wouldn't.
I ain't did too bad, man.
My boy's been talking
Oh,
about
shit.
Tally. They say he been killing the hen.
Tally been killing the
You got the
Hennessy.
hand.
Oh God damn.
Finish a little bit of that. Yeah, man. I'm just.
Robbie.
I'm having a
Robbie
good time.
I went.
Robbie,
I
show
went
me what
bought
you
a
got.
bottle of Coke. I went and bought a bottle of Cormier just for y'all tonight. So
Hey,
I'm feeling-
PB, what you
Finish
got?
this off.
Show me what you got. Yeah,
He
there we
been
go.
crushing big beers.
Look at Pete.
Chris been
My
crushing
boy.
big.
Pete
Yeah,
always
yeah.
flexing on the new beers, though.
Dan's got
Man,
Hey,
Pete is the beer
Pete's always
king.
Pete with the
flexing
beers
IPA.
is like fucking whatever this is.
Brian,
Hold
you
on,
were doing the
Robbie
Hardywood, right?
dipping.
I've been rolling the Hardywood. I've got so
Hardywood?
Hardywood and
Done.
Center of the Universe.
Kev, I done finished
I've been
this
repping
off with y'all,
Richmond
so we
hard.
good.
Yeah, this is the Hardywood
Peter, you
Christmas morning, so I had to
Peter,
do the
you gonna
Christmas.
I
get
love
your
Christmas
military
morning,
ball?
man. Christmas morning is good shit.
Old
I've got the
Granddaddy.
Oh,
the
the
bourbon
old-
GBS,
Nice.
and then I've got the Center of the Universe Donnie.
Dude, those are some good ones.
Man,
And
holla at
old
me if
granddad?
you
You're
got
drinking
apples.
old granddad, Curtis? I
You
thought
had
I heard
Curtis
you
is
say
drinking
that.
old granddad, man.
Follow me back on Twitter. I'll
That
holler.
old granddad. That old
Hit old
granddad that
Granddad
turned him
Bonded,
into a
that shit will
granddaddy.
fuck you up. Listen,
Yeah, we know. Shit, we
Chris
see you.
Lester,
Yes, sir.
Kevin Drones, I appreciate y'all joining us. PB,
I appreciate
Thanks
you.
for having us. Thank you for having us.
Dan,
Thanks,
appreciate
brother.
y'all joining us. Robbie, brother,
Hey.
I love you, man. Second behind me in my wedding.
Look,
Love you,
I love
brother.
all y'all, and it can't be understated how important Keelan Adams and Kyron Jones are to this program. They are
They're
godsends to the Hokie Nation, and
They
we
are.
will not take that for granted.
We're not.
Sean
That
Dan.
wraps up this episode of the Boundary Corner Podcast with myself, Curtis Wilson, Brian Siegler, Jonathan Talley, Robbie Compton, Kevin Drones, Chris Lester, PB, Dan from the Terra Dome.
Tell us what's going on, baby.
Don't.
So close.
We swarm,
He
baby.
got it
We
fucked
swarm.
up.
We swarm, baby. We
swarm,
Oh,
swarm.
I need one of them.
So
Holla at me.
big.
Check
I
out
need
our
me a
website,
Terra Dome shirt.
WBT.com.
Hydraulic
Check
money.
out the merchandise shop. Check out our brother Jason Long, JasonLongMusic.com. We appreciate you all for joining. It's been over 50. Oh, we just dipped below 50. Damn, y'all. Why y'all got to go below 50?
It's all
We
good.
have
They know we
over-
finna get off. It's
Three
time to
and a
I
go.
know.
They
I know,
like,
right?
y'all all drunk as shit. We ain't.
They are
We
correct.
appreciate everybody joining us tonight. Jeremy and Dwight, who had to hop off.
Yeah.
As always, let's go.
Hope.
Hey.